Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another podcast thingy. Today we have a very special guest in the house. It's my man GGZ, all the way from the UK. I mean, it's Brexit, right? It really is.
Brexit means Brexit. Get it done,
Even
mate.
in Gears of War, it's been Brexit, which that really sucks on one hand, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Go ahead and introduce yourself, man, for the people that don't know you yet.
Well, for the people that don't know, I've been playing Gears since about 2006. As Dutch said, from the UK, as he cracks open one there. Just been playing Gears since 2006. Jumped in and around the console scene from then till would have been about end of Gears 3, and then jumped to PC and came back pretty much for just about the end of Gears 4. And then came back to Gears 5, and that's where it all started, really. When I was hit with that game, I felt like I wanted to say something, so here I am a year later on this podcast with Dutch.
And how long have you been making like Gears content for?
I'd probably say like actual Gears content. Like we started in 2006, montages, videos, all the standard stuff, but actually making like where I think about, I probably should upload that regularly. Probably like early Gears 3. Early Gears 3, really. Yeah, I didn't really get to play Gears 2 because I was banned. But
what got you banned?
One too many battles on the forums.
Are you serious?
Yeah, man. I told what's she called? Sharon Flack.
Oh my god!
Potentially might have told her where she could put the disc, but it's okay, man. It's okay. I didn't miss much, right?
Right.
So
man,
there we go.
Lot, dude. Those days to get yourself banned.
Oh yeah. I was a warlord, man. Forum warlord.
What about on 360? How many accounts did you have?
360. Well, there was how many accounts I had? I had my main account, but you could. I don't know when they stopped doing it, but you could make free accounts and you'd get 28 hours, or was it 48 hours Xbox Live Gold? So you would just try to think of the sweatiest game battles name possible, make a new account, and just try to have the small name look cool,
Ask or just how many X's you got to put in there.
Yeah, or make a parody name,
Yeah.
Sniper record in the bio. So yeah, lots of accounts.
Right, of course. The stars as well, right? Like how good you are with the Nasher and.
Yep, 4-star Nasher, 5-star long shot.
Yep.
You know how it is, mate.
Oh man, that shit was cringe with all the fonts.
Yeah, you have to dip into your Xbox bio, change it to like I don't even know some Cantonese language and search for the star.
You had to figure out exactly where the profile was.
Yep, and then you'd get lost and have to private chat your friend. Like I'm stuck in the menu. Is it up, down?
I used to go Google, dude. I would just go Google and like, oh yeah, how do you go back? Like, yeah. Oh man, those were the days. So when it comes to Gears, I mean, for me, it might be a stupid question, but for the people who don't know, what's your favorite Gears and why?
See, I knew you were going to answer this one or ask this one. What's my favorite Gears? I mean, immediately I say Gears 1 because that's the one I spent the absolute most amount of time on. If it's just me, like if it was just what's the best Gears or what was my favorite game? Definitely.
Your favorite Gears experience. Yeah.
Gears 1 or Gears 1 PC, same thing really. But that's where I
back then on like the original Gears 1?
Yeah. I played on there.
Cheaper, man. I bought that shit on a discount. Gears 1 on PC. I didn't even have a PC.
Wow, just for the exclusivity reason, or just future proofing? That's probably quite rare if you still got it.
I was like, my dad's PC can probably run this. Nope.
Right.
Nope. Nah, that shit could barely run RuneScape. So I returned it. I think about 3 months later, I sold it to someone else or something for like $10.
Yeah,
it really didn't matter.
It was probably when I got into it, probably like a year after it launched, because I was kind of jumping in and out of PC. I don't know what the time frame is, but whenever Skyrim came out, that's when I switched to PC. Would it be like
2009?
I think it's like 2012, maybe.
Skyrim?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, not 2009. That would be like Oblivion, right? Oblivion came out for a few years.
Actually, you might be right, yeah. 2010, 2011,
Something like that. And that's when I remember I got hit with it when I bought Skyrim, and everyone was in Xbox Live Party chat and they were playing Skyrim. And I was like, yeah, I got it on PC. It's the superior version. I'm going to mod it. And then like the realization hit me that I had to sit at a desk and get like hand cramps, and I didn't know how to type, and I couldn't press any of the buttons. So I was just sat there like sad that I didn't even play it eventually.
This is a Gears player talking about hand cramps.
Yeah, man, we're starting out on PC. That's brutal, man.
That's great.
It's brutal.
That's great. When I this is a Gear stream. We talk about fucking Skyrim, but who cares?
Hey, it's a better game, mate, right now.
I mean, the fact that Skyrim is so alive, like the numbers, the players. Oh my god, the mod support is insane. It's insane. So much effort. So much effort.
Yeah, let's just talk about Skyrim, man.
Yeah.
It's cancelled, guys. Forget it. Right.
It's gonna have better multiplayer soon, from what I hear.
No, but yeah, anyway, Gears 1 was definitely the vibe.
So Gears 1 is your favorite one. You spent the most hours. That's one thing, of course. But what is, obviously hindsight's 2020, but what is that game to you compared to all the other ones, and why?
I think that is, to me, the core. That's what Gears is. I'm not saying it's perfect. Like it's nowhere near perfect. There was definitely some big issues with Gears 1. Like nobody can deny that. But it's definitely, to me, like when I think of what Gears of War is, that was more of a fighting game. Like controlling the map, having a fight, moving around, and Gears 2 tried to do something new. That was, I always say, like unapologetically slow. Like it never changed its mind. Like everybody would rage on the forum, but it was like, this is the style. Like get used to it. So you kind of got used to it, you know. Even though everybody hated it, the devs were just like, this is our vision. You play it or you don't. So did you? I felt like I had to kind of respect that.
Did you start on the forums on Gears 2? Or
yeah. Well, I know. Well, I mean, Gears 1, it was early internet days. To be honest, like I had like Tesco. I had a Tesco 1 meg. I had a box TV. I sat in a rocking chair. You know, meet me high side. You wouldn't want to face me then. I was in my physical peak.
Yeah.
But
curved like a banana.
Then when it all went wrong on Gears 2, for me, I know some people absolutely love it, but that's when I went to the forums. Like, surely I'm not the only guy here that thinks this is absolutely tragedy. You know. Gears 3, I think, was pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. Not perfect again, but it's a close one to Gears 1. Gears 4, when I loaded up that campaign, I was almost physically sick. When they told me how to play Horde, and they would like tell me to defend the area, and some robots were landing down, I almost threw up. So we kind of skipped that. And we played the multiplayer. Towards the end, actually had a real good blast. But I think
what about Judgment, though?
Judgment? Literally. What's that?
Well, now hindsight, between 4, 5, and Judgment, which one? What's top 3?
Top 3? Gears 1. Gears...
No. If you have to pick between 4, 5, and Judgment.
4, 5, and Judgment.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say hot take. I'm gonna say Gears 5.
Well, the number 1
of those 3, yeah.
Of those 3, yeah.
And I don't like Gears 5 that much. That's a hot take, but as a product, Gears 5 is more of a game, and people are going to absolutely lose it there, but it is. I think anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. And next.
So probably. I didn't really play much Judgment, to be honest. Everybody tells me that the campaign was like a score-based retry system that was meant to have good replayability.
Yeah.
The movement was actually pretty good in Judgment. If you actually go back and play it, movement was pretty good. It might have even been center screen.
It was.
Yeah, center screen shooting. It was kind of fun. I think what it was going from like Gears 1, 2, and 3 and then seeing Judgment, it was a way different game, and I don't think I was ready for it. But probably now, having played first-person shooters, battle royales, more of that style type of shooter, it wouldn't feel as jarring playing Judgment. But I'd have to go back and play it. But I'd probably say Judgment is better than Gears 4. I'm of the opinion that Gears 4 is one of the worst.
We have to be objective here, right? So we take Judgment on launch, Judgment or Gears 4 on launch, and Gears 5 on launch.
If we're doing if we're doing on launch,
yeah, because we can't. I mean, Judgment didn't really last that long. Maybe 6 months to a year for most that played. I mean, I played for a long time, and it just died in Europe. And Gears 4 and 5. I mean, 5. I mean, that's why we are here. We're not playing. We're talking, right? During Gears 4, I think first year in for many people, even though most of us were still pretty mad. I think a lot of people are still playing.
I think I think it's pretty hard to judge it if we're doing it purely off launch.
Mm.
I mean, for me, right? So when I played Gears 4 on launch, I was on a PC. I didn't have an Xbox One.
Okay.
So it actually didn't work. You couldn't physically play it for like a year. So on launch, it's got to be the worst for me because I couldn't play it. It made your PC hang. It crashed. It just flat out didn't work. You had to run like drivers from like the 1920s to get it going.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Blow the dust out. Fire up the horse cart. Get the drivers out. Yeah. It was. Yeah, that was not good.
Microtransactions. Otherwise, they're like coins. You know, the more you buy, the longer you get to play.
Yeah. So
like on PC.
I'd still probably say Gears 5. And I know that seems weird because I quite hate Gears 5, but I do think overall there's more to it.
Yeah, I mean, you had Escape, right?
Yeah, I think Escape's decent. Horde's fairly decent. The multiplayer, if you're not a big Gears fan, like if you're not a big Gears fan and you've kind of heard about Gears and you went to try Gears 5, you probably wouldn't be as angry as it, you know? If you were just a COD player and you played some Forza or you played some other games and you played Gears 5 and loaded it up, you'd kind of be like, this is kind of okay. But for like somebody that loved Gears and then played Gears 5, it was horrendous.
Yeah. So you mentioned so you start playing Gears 1 and Gears 2 comes out. You went into the forums, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you think Gears fell off the most from Gears 2 and on? Or from Gears 3 and on, because many people that I listen to or hear about always say, Gears 2, they love Gears 2 in terms of what they added new.
Yeah.
Like new maps, right? Horde, the scenery, the atmosphere was still Gears 1-ish, right? The sort of, very dark and cruel. And then Gears 3, you're playing Sandbar, you're on the beaches playing with Krabs, Mr. Krabs, Patrick, the star somewhere down there, that's my experience of Gears 3. It had its moments, but it didn't really.
So you didn't really like Gears 3 then?
I mean, I played it a lot because it had so much to offer for such a small package comparatively to a lot of games back then. But once the sensitivities, went all out with 30s, the game changed completely.
Yeah. So it depends really where you're coming from as well, because for me, when I played Gears 4, I hadn't played a Gears game since midway through Gears 3. So I came into the end of Gears 4 where apparently everyone says it was pretty good towards the end. It had the boxes fixed, everything kind of was flowing. So when I came into it, I hadn't played Gears for a long time, so I enjoyed the end of it more as a, hey, I'm back with the guys on Discord playing Gears, rather than like, is this game actually really good? It was kind of nice just to be playing Gears again after not playing it for so long.
Right. Yeah.
But if you went through all of I believe it had a pretty rough time as well, Gears 4, right?
Let me tell you something. This is part of the reason why I was like sort of flaming you and other people too, because Gears 4 actually launched without a ranked lobby. You load up, you group up, and you literally load into the game. You don't pick a map. You have nothing. You just load in. Boom. You don't get to pick anything.
Really?
Which is so weird because every Gears game has had that. So it had disconnection issues, which you're aware of, which made everything 10 times worse. Not only that, it didn't have any ranked leaderboards. It had social leaderboards, but not ranked leaderboards. So there are so many things out there at the launch that they did not announce to any of us. that you found out as you started the game. So from
Yeah.
the
So
colorful skins,
right. So you would come from Gears 3 playing your ranked, climbing the
or UE,
leaderboards,
yeah,
and you
UE.
or UE, yeah, UE, and that was fitted in there, and then you would come to that, and there was nothing. Right.
That's right.
Yeah,
And
that's
the
pretty.
characters, right? You had, you played as if
This,
you're fucking.
yeah, this
off
is
the
why I
builder.
don't. This is why I do. It does confuse me a bit because the community seem to love Gears 4,
Comparatively, yeah.
but at the end, then, and we haven't
Yeah.
we haven't seen the end of Gears 5.
No, we haven't.
So
but
you can look at it that way.
that's true. But look at the state that we're in now in Gears 5. I mean, this is something you go back my videos, other people too, that kind of quit before you really started coming into Gears 4, right? In the first year, lots of people quit, to be honest.
Yeah, well, it was dead for me when I played. It was
Europe, PC.
Caitlin Snow every game.
Yeah,
you know that you know that name, don't you? Caitlin Snow every game. Hey, do you want to play Gears? You had to ask yourself, do you want to play Gears 4? And we'd all sit in Discord and go, do we want to play Caitlin Snow stack?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, I played majority Xbox because I hated I don't hate crossplay. I tried playing crossplay. There were still many cheaters. Just like you, I've had my discussions with Toby Campbell. He's been in my chat before, literally telling me,
no
there's
comment.
barely any cheaters. He leaves. Literally, I'm like, you know what? I'll try it. I went on. I can promise this, by the way. I can vouch for this. Went on. First game, 2 games of one in a row. Each game after one another, basically. There was a cheater. 2 different ones. I was like, first time on Harbor, there's a cheater. I'm like, I'll try again.
And what did a cheater look like in Gears?
It was just headshots.
Just
everything's dead.
Right.
Yeah.
Just aim button.
There was no wall bounce involved. There was no anything involved. The guy spawns in on foundation. You see the wall, right? That you can see the other team over. You run, whole team's down. Dead.
Right, yeah.
I was like, nope, not for me.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. And I mean that's not.
We were talking about this the other day with a few friends. We were saying like, you heard of Fall Guys, right? Fall Guys, the game where, for those that don't know, it's a brand new game. You kind of battle royale, survive to the end, kind of think of Doritos Crash Course from back in the day. It's kind of like that, and that's a completely party-friendly game, and people cheat in that. You know, people hack in that. And one of the good things about playing Gears 5 is it's so dead. There are no PC cheaters. Just no one can be bothered to even cheat on it. So I don't even know if it's got. I don't even know if it's got a good anti-cheat, or if Gears has a good anti-cheat.
When the game came out in the beta, people were releasing the mods, basically the cheats, right? But then I don't really remember what TC or Microsoft did, and maybe even the cheaters got bored.
That's what I mean. Could it be that?
I mean, that's so sad if you think about it. The cheater gets bored.
Yeah.
UE, because if you really love Gears 1, what did you like about UE?
I've never played UE, which might come as a shock, but again, this was a game that when launched, I was coming from Gears 4, and again that game just didn't work on PC.
Gears
so I was
right. UE was before Gears 4. So did you not play UE at all?
Was Gears UE before Gears 4?
Yeah.
When it came to PC. Or was it?
I think it launched at the same time. I'm not sure.
Well, whichever it was, the reason I didn't end up playing it was I thought to myself, I've played so much Gears of War 1. Like, I've had all the fun I could possibly have. Like, I've done everything. Competitive, casual, glitched out, hosted ranked matches, you name it. I've done everything on that game. Played Annex. The host would leave his Xbox on when he went to work.
Really said I played Annex. It's an achievement that you write down. I played this game mode. That's crazy,
like,
right?
So I'd done everything on Gears 1, and I thought to myself, I don't really need to play a remake, because for me, I normally don't like remakes of games, because even though they say it's a remake, they normally touch something. Like, for example, in Gears UE, you could swap cancel. So when you swap turn, you could cancel. You could spot people. The sniper was different. Things were just a little bit off. I didn't like the look of the game as much. But everybody's told me since, like, oh, you'd have loved the game. So I'm not sure on that one.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you would have. I mean, I played a good ton of Gears UE. Being European myself, I still played on Xbox, so I can't really say how alive it was for PC. You had Crossplay, I had that turned off just in case there were cheaters. Um, but the lobby system in this one worked differently. So
Yeah. There was no custom games, right, in UE.
nope.
So yeah, that was one of the things where I was like, well, there's no custom games. That was like kind of what made Gears special. So am I really that interested in just playing matchmaking on the same old maps that I've done with the same settings? Like, I kind of just thought to myself, yeah, I wanted something fresh, you know. So I didn't end up going back to UE, but I mean, I've looked at the game, I've watched people play it, and I think it looks a good game.
Yeah, I mean, the campaign was really well. I thought that was really cool that they added in the PC chapter that was in Gears 1 PC, but not on Xbox. That was cool to play because I never got to play that.
The
So
Brumac one, right?
yeah, that's right. Yeah. I think it had something to do with the performance or something back then, or I don't know what excuse or reason, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, when it came to multiplayer, you had the quick match, of course, and you had ranked. The thing about quick match was that you basically load into a lobby, and then whichever side you're on is the side you stay on the whole time you play. So you never swap teams,
Right.
and you have to wait until the whole lobby's full. Otherwise, it won't start.
Right.
So if you're a streamer or a YouTuber or something, in Europe especially, you would just be sitting there the whole time, or you were forced to play on an American connection.
Yeah, that's just a theme with Gears, isn't it? That they
For
don't.
Europe, yeah, especially.
Or just in general, they don't seem to really think about the player experience. Like, is this what people actually want to do? You know, do they want to sit in queue? Do they want to play customs? Like, you know, to jump ahead way into Gears 5, but, you know, I have people that would happily play customs if they could earn some stuff, but you can't earn anything in customs, so people feel like, well, what's the point?
That's right.
Yeah, so I just don't think, like, they don't think ahead as what the community wants. Maybe they don't know what the community wants. I mean, there's a lot of evidence pointing to that, right?
Yeah, and when UE was released, I liked it. I appreciated that TC, you know, it's their first time making a Gears game or remaking or taking whatever, you know, coming from a studio that was really small, working on their own IP. You're looking at that technical side and stuff. I appreciated that they did pretty well. But it was more a title for esports. That's how it was kind of, you know, shown off. They made some tutorial videos to kind of introduce people to the skills you'll see in esports.
I don't think that's a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing, but you're already catering to simply that crowd.
That's one of the things that made me relook at it, because I think I read an article and it said they were competing for a staggering amount of money, like in relation to what Gears used to be when I played, you know. You wouldn't play for anything, and then the Gears 4 tournaments were pretty damn big, and I just thought, like, because I hadn't followed the scene at all since Gears 3, I was like, oh, Gears must be like doing pretty damn good. So we played some Gears 4. We were like, oh, there must be no players because it's, you know, Gears 4's just about to end. Gears 5 comes out in a few weeks, we'll jump on that. And then we kind of realised that actually not a lot has changed in the scene. I think there was just a ton of money chucked into Gears 4.
Yeah.
To make the esports.
I mean, before we started doing this and I was getting off work, I watched the video of you talking about the UE scene, about how Microsoft basically threw money at the game and said,
yeah, the Gears 4 scene.
Do something with this.
Yeah.
And how the EU scene kind of dropped the ball. They just played and didn't really build anything or tried to build something, or I know some people did. They pointed that out to me very clearly, but there are many people, mostly players and of course the community as a whole, that is just simply not interested.
Yeah.
You can just tell if you look at, like you would do, the numbers of viewers, people only showing up for skins. You know, it's just what people want to talk about.
Like, I don't want to say it, but deluded. Like a lot of them are completely deluded. Like you can say to the pros, like, you should have done more. You had a big scene. You had big cash prizes. A lot of them didn't do anything, you know, and a lot of them, in fairness, were like, there's no viewership. You know, why would I sit and make tons and tons of content for Gears 4 if nobody wants to watch it? But that's the problem, isn't it? If nobody wants to watch it, you can't then delude yourself into thinking we're a massive professional player, we're a huge esports. You're not. You're, like I say, you're just playing for money. That's what you're doing. You're not in an esports. You're not in a massive scene. I would, like I say, like if we were to host a tournament now on Gears 5 for £200,000, people are going to turn up and play it. Does that mean there's an esports?
Yeah, that's the argument you hear all the time. Is they see the viewership rise.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Oh, look at the tournament day, and there's like 20,000 people in there, and they're like, "Yo, Gears is back!" But you have retention. People need to actually play the game. Now I'm gonna hit you with a big fact on Gears 5 real quick. I've done this on Gears 4 as well.
Okay.
If you look at the achievements on Gears 5 that every player can get, right?
Yeah.
Only about 10% of everyone that touched the game, everyone, Game Pass included, has finished 5 ranked matches. And only about 16%, or the other way around, has finished or has won or finished 5 arcade matches. I mean, that just shows you how few people are not just interested, but also stick around, you know? And like you said, it's that TC keeps dropping the ball on who they're listening to, but it's also our communities who I feel like can't almost deal with the trade-offs, you know? For me, personally, if TC decided, we're going to just scrap esports and focus solely on the game and invest all that money, because it's probably about what 5 to 7 million over all these years that they put aside in prize money alone.
Yeah, probably.
Development and developers and reward people for making a fantastic game, and then the esports side can
naturally grow from it.
Yeah,
you got to build it up. It definitely doesn't know what it wants to do. That's for sure. And I also think they don't do a good enough job of like dropping stuff off. So like now you can imagine arcade is clearly a massive flop, but there'll be still people out there saying that we need to keep arcade, or they'll still consider keeping it. And you need to. I feel like it's like they've created this baby. They've created like the weapons, everything, and they can't let some of it go, even if it's bad.
I think I heard them talking about potentially scrapping arcade, though. I think on one of the dev streams, what's his name again? The new multiplayer director.
But again, even though that's good news in a way, it's also really bad news, because how long did they spend making that mode? Yeah, they spent all that time making that mode. Dead. Everybody playtest it, balance all the classes just for it to get scrapped. Like clearly, whatever's going on in the studio, they're not in tune. All of that development time could have been spent making a stat book.
That you sort of missed from Gears 4 launch until when you played, because many things in Gears 4 that were extremely broken at launch were sort of fixed after the first year. They were fixed to a point that people could accept it and just accept that is the way that it is, because core and stuff didn't really get touched all that much. It was mostly comp that was touched.
Yeah, I only played core.
Yeah, exactly. So what you just hit the nail on the head when it came to they don't really know what they want out of the game or what they're doing, because they took all that development time during Gears 4 making comp 2.6, 2.7, 2.8, etc. And they literally threw that all away to make a whole new single tuning for Gears 5 that almost no one liked.
Yes.
Truly accepted the way that it was. Everyone that kind of had the Gears feel in their thumbs already was sort of like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, that's the thing I've heard a lot is, why did they throw away all this work? And that's what I've always thought. Like, Gears should be constantly built upon what just happened in the previous game, in the franchise. Whereas it seems to be like every single one is a separate entity. It's like, right, we're done with Gears 4. What do we want to do with Gears 5? We're done with Gears 1, right? What do we want to do with Gears 2? Gears 2, in fairness, was Gears 1, 2, and 3 built up on each other, I thought. But from then on, they didn't really build up on each other. It was very separate. I remember one of the dev blogs I covered, the matchmaking timer, where you sit in queue and it says estimated 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. Took them like 3, 4, 5 months to come out and say, yeah, we tried doing the same thing as Gears 4, but we tweaked it and it didn't work. We're going to revert it back to the Gears 4 timer.
Yeah.
Then it was another few months and they implemented it, and it's still not accurate. And you just have to laugh and wonder what is going on.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, right? That's like, if you don't poke fun at it, you're just gonna get really mad the whole time, especially playing. Because you'll find everything frustrating.
So I think there are a few people, I mean, quite a lot, just maybe, I don't want to use the word addicted, but kind of addicted to Gears, they haven't, or should I word it differently? They haven't left the bubble of Gears. They haven't experienced other games, RTSs, MOBAs, Overwatch style games, or RPGs, anything. They just know Gears is the game, and they just it's like they can't accept change. So then the developers are like really on edge, and they can't modernize the franchise in a proper way. I don't think. So I think Gears feels dated. I feel. I'm not saying make it COD or anything like that, but it feels like they're terrified to lose that small player base rather than lose that small player base and actually grow a proper game. They're clinging on to what they've got. I feel like.
Sure, but that's game development in a nutshell. You don't really know until you do it. But from a good example that I really appreciate about CD Projekt Red with Witcher, is that they made Witcher 1, 2, and 3, which was, like you said, kind of built off one another, went pretty much different directions for those that played the game. Yeah. Witcher 3 was an amazing game. Even for people that didn't really like that style and everything else, they could appreciate that being the content that it is, and the developers not shilling at every turn to make as much money for every reason that they could.
Yes, they stuck. They had a vision and stuck with it. They didn't. I'm pretty. They could have advertised a movie in Witcher. If they wanted to, he could have opened up one of those doors and said, "Wow, look at this, Toy Story 4's coming out." But they didn't. The fact that the Terminator was dropped in Gears 5, I just thought was ridiculous. Not even from should the Terminator be? Does it look good? Is it too skinny? Just, it's not in the universe they've spent years building, so why is it there? Just a complete sellout.
I want to just go back to the shit. Now I lost my train of thought. What was I talking about?
We were talking about come on, chat. We were talking about how the game has changed, how they go back on stuff.
So with The Witcher, when they released that series, there were the sales figures and players were higher than on launch on Witcher 3. Think about that for a minute. So more people came back to the series, and more people bought the game than ever on release day of Witcher 3, just on its own. So because they made something so well fitted with the games, and true to their own, community, people came and were attracted to that.
Yeah, I think if you build a proper game, the cringe phrase, but build it and they'll come. It might not have the most viewers ever, but there are plenty of old games out there that eventually get built and built and built upon, and eventually people go, "Oh, this is a really good game. This is now a really good game. Let's go play it." I believe that new game that they're playing on Twitch, Among Us, that's like a 5-year-old game. It's not a new game at all, but they've stuck to what they want to do, and people are now enjoying it. Whereas I feel like Gears is like, they're always in panic mode. Feels like the studio's just in panic mode. They're like, you can even tell on the dev streams, like they'll be asking the developer like a question. Oh, could we do this? Could we do that? What about this? And it's like they're trying to get him to design the game on the fly, and it's just not going to work. It's just not going to work that way.
We could look into that, and that's something. I mean, if you've been as part of this as long as we have, and you look at everything they say and do and whatever, that is something that always comes back. I mean, you can look at 1,000 things. You have to do something, and something I've noticed, and I bring this up with everybody that I talk to, is that TC seems to be the company that you can write a 1,000-page book, and then the one page you didn't write, they'll do. Because they say, well, you didn't say you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's something very typical. And in Gears 4, something with the microtransactions was a big thing, because I'm completely against them. I can understand them why sometimes they need to be there, but don't lie to us. Don't cheat everyone that's bought your game, bought the collector's edition, all the rest of it. Don't do that, because you're just going to deter more people.
You have you have people though on YouTube coming out and saying, "Oh, the microtransactions are disgusting, this and that," and they're the same people that have, for the past multiple years of Gears 4, produced opening loot box videos, and that always makes me laugh. That those people, literally no backbone, no what's the word, morals or ethics. They just saw opening boxes gets views. I'ma open some boxes and get some views, and then boom, all of a sudden boxes or a shop is in Gears 5 and all of a sudden they're freaking out, and it's like, well, you kind of told the devs that's what we want through what you did. So that irritates me a lot.
I get that criticism. I've said the same thing. But I also know that there are people out there that have asked me, hey, what do I get out of this box? And I've used my money to buy them, like the esports crates, and said, look at this trash. Because when Gears 4 launched, this is a huge scandal, by the way. If Gears was mainstream, I think almost half the studio, I'm not like, no cap here, chat, half the studio would be probably fired because of the scandal that would go through the entire gaming industry. Because what they did was they released, accidentally of course, some esports packs. I think it was the first one or second packs or whatever. And you could buy those with coins. That was not the goal, right? There's always money, right?
Yeah.
You have to pay a straight price. And people bought them, spent all their coins, and TC reverted it. They took they took the coins, they took the characters, and they gave back the you have to buy packs again with money. But not only that, what happened was, in those esports packs, and it took them how many months? 4 or 5 months to fix the drop rate. So you would get normal items in esports packs that people paid for, like $8 to $9 or something. It's been a couple years. I can't really remember because it's just PTSD kicking in, But it was insane. And you had people, like you said, drop hundreds of dollars, and then going, hey, TC, fix this. I mean, I can tell you guys one thing. You can say what you like, but if you pay a company, if you pay me $500 not to do something while I'm doing it, I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah, that's
You're giving me the money.
There is a deluded part of the Gears community that they often come to me and they say, like, in a similar way, oh, I'm going to quit the game. They never do. They never ever stop playing it. And it's like, well, if you keep playing it, then they're not going to stop doing it. If you keep buying packs, they're going to keep, like you say, if someone was relentlessly opening $100 worth of packs and they say, can you change the packs? They're just going to think, no, thanks very much. Keep spending. So
that was the moment with the Lambert Grenadier where they made it for coins and everyone was happy. I didn't see anybody. There were some people that said it's a bit much, but that's just a matter of, how much you play and what do you do in the game, etc. That can be changed. But people were happy because they said, okay, you can either buy it or pay coins.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
With the next character, Z. They released for money again.
Paid,
same thing. Yeah. And everyone's like,
they're token gestures. That's what I feel like a lot of TC does. A lot of things, if you properly watch and pay attention, it's just this fire's breaking out. Let's calm that little one and ignore the enormous one behind us, because everyone's talking about the small fire at the moment, and meanwhile everything's going wrong in the background. Like no one seems to talk about this. The Tour of Duty in Gears 5. Tour of Duty in Gears 5 I actually quite liked, in the sense that when it was fixed, Operation 2-3, you could hop on, grind some stuff, earn some exclusives, and if you didn't want to do it, you could earn stars just from playing. Just basically play the game, you'll get your stuff. And every single person moaned, and then they released everything in the shop for coins, and everyone said, this is amazing, fantastic, we can finally get what we want. But what about all the people that spent hours and hours and hours grinding Horde for like a Boo medal or whatever it may be? It's just a kick in the teeth to all those people. And again, another one, just to mention another one off the cuff, is Iron. They told everybody relentlessly, Iron is the currency that you need to buy to get esports skins. If you want to support esports, you want to support your skin, your team with your favourite skin, you've got to load up on Iron. So everyone loaded up on Iron. And now your iron's useless. You have to spend money to get esports skins. And when somebody asked Dana, they said, Dana, I stocked up on iron. You told us it was all iron. I stocked up on iron. What should I do with it? And he said, well, and he laughed. He said, well, you can always buy boost.
Yeah, I mean,
I just thought, well, I mean, just ridiculous. What do you even do with an answer like that?
This is like, yeah, I mean, I see myself as a representation of my own community, and I'm sure you're sort of the same. You know, you have your own community. People come to you with their own concerns and questions and the rest. And rather than everyone spamming the devs, they can just go for one person to get.
Yeah. You're kind of like a mini spokesperson in a way.
Yeah, basically. And something that you see a lot in Gears is that a lot of people are. I said this to Jay as well. I'm sure you heard it. It's like this weird. People divide themselves where they say, "Well, if that person from that community says this is wrong,
yes.
But if the one from my community says the same thing, then it's right." It doesn't work like that. You know, you have to find each other's common ground. And even when I watch your videos and I disagree with things that you said or experienced or whatever, because I have a different view and my solution would be different, I could still see where you're coming from. I just leave that alone, because if you want to play like that, and if the game was like that and it worked, hey, I'm winning too. Don't care, as long as it's good, as long as it works. I can deal with it. I played through Gears too. Like, hello.
Yeah, for me, if someone has an opinion that is, different to mine, way off. Back in the day on the forums, you're wrong, this, that. Since I've come back, it's just like, listen, if this guy's enjoying the game and he can actually give a reason as to why this thing he wants is good or whatever, he has a proper viewpoint, I'm not going to go and attack that. I'm not going to say anything. People enjoy games in a variety of different ways. People like to sit and play just a few games of PvE a night. Some people want to play PvP all day. Some people want to scrim. And there's a lot of gatekeeping in the Gears community. It's like, if you you misspeak once, you say something, or let's say I say esports is terrible, then the esports side are going to go, well, everything that he says is now irrelevant. You're not allowed an opinion. And there's a lot of gatekeeping, and there's a lot of, this person said that, so that, like you say, it's just split. It's quite childish. It's irritating.
Gears 4 real quick, right? So you didn't play on launch.
No.
You played a year later, but you had to play with dual tuning if you were going to play comp.
Yeah, when I played, there was dual tuning.
Yeah. So if you had to do dual tuning yourself, just top of your head, how would you do it?
If I had to, I personally wouldn't.
If you were TC, because in my view, I can see where TC is coming from with the cores for the solo crowd that has to have a weapon that does enough damage to get kills, to have fun. And comp was more for the actual team-orientated people with weaker guns, so to speak, so that you wouldn't just get bodied out of spawn. I get that. I remember all the conversations I had with Ryan and listening to all the dev streams, and I get it. But it didn't work. So I have my ways of how I would do it, but I'm curious to hear how you would do it.
Just for answer, why do you think it didn't work? Because of the actual values of the dual tuning, or just fundamentally it doesn't work?
No, I think the values. Yeah, I think what they should have done, they had two values. They had one down here, core, or comp, and up here was core, right? And I think if you went middle of the road, almost identical to one another, but for comp, you had things like longer reload timers, less ammo that you start with, more recoil in general, bigger hipfire spray like you showed in your video, things that are sort of secondary mechanics and not so much change the entire way.
Yeah, not initially noticeable by someone hopping in.
Exactly. And you could still play without the knowledge of, okay, this is comp, I need to be 1.25 feet with the one shot and 2.2 feet for the two shot. Like, that doesn't work. No one cares.
So there's like two ways of looking at it, really. If you have a tuning that is, like you say, quite similar, it has the obvious pro that you can hop in and you might not know the absolute nuance, like, oh, the active reload isn't doing as much damage, or the reload's a little bit slower, or but fundamentally, if you've got to grips with, let's call it core, you've got to grips with core and you hop in this second tuning and it's similar, but it doesn't have that, like you say, it's not wildly different, just nuances, then yeah, people can hop in and the pros can push those little nuances and get a bit of an advantage, but everyone else can still have a good time. But you can also think of it like, if it's not that different, just find a middle ground, because just having multiple tunings just is so if I had to have two tunings, I would probably go very different.
Really?
Yeah. Or so I would ideally have one tuning that is like you say, a middle ground between core and esports nuances that'll put in there. But if I was having two, I'd probably have one that's properly set up for teams. That way you have to play it in a team way, if that's what they're going for. Because I think if you actually want a good esports, you can't just chuck in similar guns and give them to 5 people. I don't think so.
No, I wasn't saying you had to go with the Gears 3 tuning and then make that slightly whatever. I'm just saying, if you're going to do dual tuning, make the majority of everything the same, the movement, the way the guns work, the way the guns handle in general, and then those secondary things like recoil, blind fire spray, reload timer, ammo count, weapon spawn, different weapon spawns on the map, just by default. Because it's sort of, to me, I can compare it to Call of Duty, where you have the main game, Call of Duty, which everyone sort of plays, and then you have Hardcore, which is almost the same, but the guns, everything that kills and but just for the experience,
it's Call of Duty in essence.
You can instantly feel the difference, but it's mostly the same. While with Gears 4 Core and Comp, you are playing a completely different Gears of War game.
I think what it is, though, is more than having different tunings or what you choose those tunings to be. I think just TC and Gears in general, even in the past, just do a terrible job of actually introducing players to content. Like when you load into Gears 5, I watched somebody yesterday. He was a brand new player playing the campaign, and you loaded in, and the first setting when you go into boot camp is your camera is inverted. How many people really play with camera inversion on? It's like they just don't seem to introduce anything correctly. Like if you had it wildly different, the two tunings, or very similar, when you go into ranked, somebody should be explaining that to you, a tutorial or something. Just sending everybody in blind is just annoying.
In Gears 3, you had the weapon damage showing when you select the gun.
Something like that. There needs to be something because I know. We've played Gears for a long time, so I can quickly go in and be like, oh, this feels different. Right, Gib range is a bit smaller, Lancer's a bit stronger. But if you're kind of new to the franchise and you're just not getting it, you want something that you can check or look and watch, where you're like, right, this is the differences. Maybe there's a tutorial that explains, oh, this is competitive, it's more built around teams, your Lancer's a little bit weaker, you're gonna have to team fire a bit more, just something to ease them in. It's like escape mode. Initially I turned off escape mode because I played it, I watched the cinematics, I thought, oh, this looks really good, you're going to be fighting swarms of swarms of enemies, you're gonna have to escape. Loaded in on easy mode, ran to the end in 1 minute and escaped, and I was like, is that it?
That's it, yeah.
Is that it? I'm pretty sure a lot of people did that and don't realize that the more and more you ramp it up, it's actually a pretty good experience. The cards that you get, they don't explain things. For example, you get a headshot card.
You bring up escape, right?
Yeah.
You also play Gears Tactics on the highest difficulty?
Yeah.
Yeah. So would you say, if Horde and Escape, let's just throw those in the same bag for a second. Would you say something like Gears Tactics, like tree builds, right? Perk decks and shit.
Yeah.
And attachments would be something that would actually be better and more Gears orientated than all the cards for Escape and Horde?
I would think. I would think that most people would resonate with equipping. Let's say you've got Coltrane and he gets shotgun damage, and he equips an actual attachment onto his shotgun. that the player visually sees, like a red handle. And then if you see someone in the game with a red handle, you're like, okay, that Coltrane's rocking the extra stopping power. There's no information. For example, like Hammerburst damage, Hammerburst active damage also gives long shot damage. It just gives everything active damage. Even though it doesn't say, like, they don't explain anything. I think, and also as well, like, we've played Gears for a long time, so we know how the game works. Third-person game, because there aren't many anymore, coming into a third-person game is pretty damn difficult. They do a terrible job. I think that's one of the reasons the game, like, where it's weird, because they cater all of the newer games to new people. That's what everyone says, that the game's noob-friendly, it's trash, etc., but they cater it to complete new players, but also don't explain anything. So nobody gets any benefit. The new player is just as baffled by these changes as they would if the game like if they stepped into the game and the Lancer one shot or the Lancer did 100 shot. If it's not explained and they've never played the game before, they're not really going to know what's going on. So I just think, not just TC. Gears in general just never explains anything properly.
Do you think Gears Tactics is a good, if you're not a Gears player and not in the Gears universe, do you think Gears Tactics does that better? Like introducing someone, okay, there's an RTS or sort of like a XCOM-ish type of game. I played it as well, I didn't finish it, but...
I would say so. It feels... What the tutorial is and what the little tips that pop up and give you, it feels more like those are tips that are relevant. Like, close the E-hole first, or a load of enemies are going to pop out. The boom shot can lob from a distance, put yourself in cover, put you back to cover. Whereas, like, the boot camp, the way you play through the boot camp, it is not... Nobody plays... Like, anyone that's any good at the boot camp... anyone that's any good at Gears 5 does not play the game like the boot camp wants you to play. So if you've never played the game, you play the tutorial, and you're like, okay, this is what's going on, and then you hop into ranked, and you've got this guy doing, he's playing claw, he's got his legs behind his head, he's playing claw, he's going off every wall upside down. You're gonna just be like, what? Whereas if I've never played Warzone, right, on COD, when I played the tutorial, kind of played like a mini Warzone game, and then once you'd finished the tutorial, there was like a level of bots and you played a mini version of the game, and I was like, okay, this is how it plays. Gears just doesn't ever explain anything.
I think that's something I did really like about Gears 1 and 2. I think Gears 3 had that as well. I think so, in the ship. But in Gears 2 you had that, train the Rook, Ben Carmine, right? You want to train the Rook? Yes. And you go through the motion. And because those games were so slow and tanky, the way you played in the campaign is technically the same as you play in Horde and multiplayer. Except in multiplayer, you have the spastics like us that just somehow never put the controller down and slept with it. Went to the shower as well. Probably chewed on some joysticks. I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe Chad can back me up there. But it kind of stayed the same. And Gears 3, with the 30 sensitivity, that they didn't turn that back. They didn't turn it back in Judgment. They didn't turn it back in UE. And I understand part of it why, because they also said, releasing the game on PC, playing against PC people on mouse and keyboard. The discussion of, controller versus mouse and keyboard, which I'm sure you've had plenty of times with thousands of people at this point.
Yes, I'm cheating playing on a PC.
Yeah, I mean, in some aspects you are, but that's not your fault because you didn't program the game. But the way things are now with the 30 sensitivity, people on a controller, really good players, can still beat mouse and keyboard players.
Yeah.
But if they would lower the sensitivity on controllers, do you think they could still compete properly against the mouse and keyboard?
I mean, generally, I think this game is one of the best for crossplay, in the sense that it's, if you're playing pixel shooting CS:GO or COD or something, PC is just gonna smash you. Whereas this game, a real good PC player is still gonna beat you, but there is more to it. Map control, movement, cover, controlling power weapons. You do have more of a chance.
But that's at 30 sensitivity, right?
At 30 sensitivity, but I don't think the 30 sensitivity has a big impact on the ability to do crossplay well. like to fight against a PC player. I think they're still at a disadvantage with 30. And if you put this, let's say you put the sensitivity up to 100, are they going to compete with PC? I still think the issues are gonna remain.
People argue to make the game slower, you lower sensitivities, the max sensitivity to 20 and stuff. I mean, if you plug in a controller right now and go on Gears 5 and play at 20 sensitivity and 30, you will see a world of difference. Now, if they would do that for the benefit of getting more people into the game because you're not as crazy spastic as you were before, but now if you're playing crossplay against a mouse and keyboard player, you're going to be at an enormous disadvantage, I think, because of my experience playing on 20 and 15, because you really move very, very slow.
Yeah. I mean, I think Gears kind of went downhill when they started to do those sensitivity changes, because there was lots of little things, like if you were roadie running, you couldn't scope in with a sniper and track somebody who was roadie running. You just physically couldn't move fast enough. Yeah. So you had to outscope and go for the no scope, which adds an element of like, not only is it hard to hit, it adds a kind of cool style. You've got a zoomer, or if you don't know, you're gonna learn that, aren't you? That you can't chase somebody with a sniper that's running. And there's lots of little nuances that I think have gone with the fact the sensitivity is just massively cramped. Well, everything's cranked up, really. Mm-hmm. Pretty much. I think a lot of the nuance is gone that people used to enjoy, and it's just become I always say it's like a big gamble. Every fight is just a gamble. Is he going to cover? Is he not? Is he cancelling? Is he animation cancelling that one? Is he swapping? Is he shooting? I find it very irritating to play for long periods of time. I can hop on and have some fun, but after a long period of time, it grates on me. Mm. But, I play on PC. I've not played the game on Xbox. If I was an Xbox player, would I have crossplay on? No. To be honest, why would you? Really, why would you?
I started on Xbox. I had an Xbox One X thanks to the stream, and it was awful. It was so much delay. The input delay on the Xbox One X, if you guys aren't used to any difference, it's mind-numbing how people can play that way.
Yeah.
I mean, it was sort of bad on 4, and on paper, which is the strange thing, on paper, Gears 4 and 5 are really close to one another, but the feeling of everything and the default, right now you have default in it and all these things you have to, all these workarounds. I mean, when I spoke to Ryan about default in it, he had no clue. He had no clue that there was a delay.
Yeah.
At least that's how he said it. I mean, I'm not sure, but...
Well, I mean, I don't know if this is a true quote or not. I've seen it on Twitter. Somebody asked them about CSGO having a big esports scene. They said they weren't aware. I'm not quite sure how you're not aware of that as a AAA Xbox franchise, shooting franchise. And someone asked them about macros. He said, "Oh, there's a lot of people that might be pistol macroing. They might be shooting it fast. We're not sure." And they were like, "Oh, I've never heard of the term macro. Like, what's a macro?" And it's kind of like, it feels like the PC version, even as a PC player, it's kind of like, it's there, but they haven't really considered it or like the greater impact of it. You can't tab out or it pauses the game when you host. It's just little things where you you just think, well, nobody must have played this on PC. Otherwise, somebody in the studio would go, "Hey, that's really annoying. Can you please fix that one?" But there's a lot of things like that in the game where you think, the more you play it, you begin to question, do they actually play this game?
Yeah.
Like, you've got to ask that question.
That Jay brought up as well about Pahanu, that new map, the little, what is it, forest map that's got some kind of bone structure or something. It's like, okay.
What do you think of that map?
It's trash.
I like the look of it, right? And I like the fact it's different. Mm-hmm. I'm in favour of different maps. For example, I feel like on Gears 1, each map was like a theme. Rooftops, very different, played out very differently to Mansion, that would play out differently to Canals or Tyro Station. So when it initially came out, I was like, oh, this is a pretty different map. But they just got it way wrong. And again, you've got to ask yourself, like, not only is it a massive open field, it's no man's land, and they put like Marksers, Mulchers, Lancer GLs, everything long range on it, just to like, it's like they doubled down on it. They were like, you know what, this is a long-range map, and let's put long-range weapons on it. And as a result, they spent all that time developing it, and it's not even in the rotation.
You're talking about
Panahu.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's something I said as well, is that they released Gridiron with that map. So they probably tested Gridiron and said, throw it in King of the Hill, which is the most popular game mode. And then they said, pull it out of King of the Hill. It doesn't play right.
And again, that's probably another reason Gridiron failed.
Yeah.
Because I went on it and I played mostly Panahu, and it was like, let me just get this flag on me back and run across this field. Not enjoyable. You wouldn't play it again, really. And yeah, there's again just things like that where you think, not only do they test it, but how much development time has been wasted. All the time we asked for maps, they made a brand new one, it sucked. All the time we asked for another feature in Gears 5, they were building arcade mode that sucked, you know. And it's like, whatever they're prioritizing, it's definitely wrong.
Because we as players, we're part of the problem, whether we like it or not, because they put arcade in the game. They made it for people who want a different experience, but people who play Gears and do Gears, they will play Gears the way Gears is played. They will try hard, they will do whatever, because that is what they enjoy. I mean, Kratos is in your stream probably. The guy is like baby Jesus with a sniper rifle, you know. The dude can do anything, and he'll just rock arcade all day long. And these people, they're like dummies. They just keep walking into the guns, you know. They don't really care. And TC's like, this is fine. This is the player base, you know. But eventually, those people are going to get bored by dying 8-9 times in 60 seconds. It's just that didn't happen in the old games. You didn't die that quickly. You didn't spawn that quickly.
It was a you loaded in. You picked the one mode that was available. You loaded in. You got blasted by a good player. You sat there for like 3 minutes reconsidering your life. Like, what did I just do wrong there? You'd have a little like pause. You'd be like, okay, maybe I did this wrong.
And if you had your headset on, you could talk shit to the other guy.
Yeah. Now it's just like respawn. It's just a definitely different culture, and just in games in general. People like to try hard. Like it's, and I don't really have a problem with that, but the matchmaking should take care of that. If somebody wants to sweat all day, you know, and in fairness to the devs as well, yeah, some guns are going to come out that are a bit broken, a bit imbalanced. It happens, but the community all abuse them, you know? In Gears 1, there was like the bro code. It was like, you wouldn't host Lancer. If you hosted a rank match, you're not going to host Lancer. If you did, well, we're going to gang up and two-piece you.
Oh, you remember Gears 3? People hated the retro and the sawn-off.
Yep.
A lot of people that didn't like the retro and sawn-off, I was one of them like in the versus area. But I understood that, for Horde and for Beast Mode, it made sense to have a gun like that. But to make it so you had quick play and ranked, if it was up to me, I would have said allow weapons, different weapon loadouts in quick play, but in ranked, you always spawn with a normal Lancer and a normal Gnasher, and then you pick up retro or whatever. Because what people did was they hated on the retro, they hated on all this stuff, but when push came to shove, they would pick that stuff up just to win.
Yeah.
And the people who wanted to really piss you off were the people who simply said, fuck these guns, but I'm going to spawn in with them.
Yeah.
You know, just to ruin your experience, I'm just going to do this the whole time. And once you run into a 5-man retro team, I mean, you never even want to touch yourself again. You just feel so violated. You're just like, man, throw the controller out the window and never touch this game again.
Well, it is, isn't it? It's just it's modern. It's modern gamers. They want to win.
In the first year, you missed this because you would have hated it. In the third update, I believe, they buffed the hammer burst, and they buffed it to almost a 2 burst down for one player.
So I mean, it's almost like that now, right? It's pretty. I'm pretty sure.
Now it's a pickup. No one picks it up.
Oh, you could spawn with it.
You can spawn with it?
No, could you? Is that what you said? You could spawn with it?
Yeah, in Gears 4. Yeah. You could spawn with the hammer burst, yeah.
What?
spawn in. If at first it was really weak, and then they added super stopping power, which everyone was like, "This is trash," and then they said, "Okay, no stopping power, mega damage," like because
Right.
people said, "Hey, get rid of the stopping power, get rid of the stopping power," or people said, "Make it a pickup." And because they didn't say, "Don't make it super powerful," TC said, "We're gonna make it super powerful, and you're gonna hate it even more."
Yeah, but it's a pretty good point that, because TC do a lot of things where they say one thing and tweak one thing, and then in the same breath they're doing something completely completely the opposite of what they just said. So clearly the problem with the hammer burst was it was too strong.
Yeah.
And
you have to tell them the whole time.
okay,
don't 10 hours, and then they do that one thing, you're like, yes, you did it. And then you have to constantly tell them.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. It does feel like you have to constantly be on top of everything, because it seems like they're not sure what they're doing.
Like, and then they see one person, one that says, "Hey, I like that." They go, "Yeah, see, you guys like it."
For example, what they spent almost a year balancing the Lancer, and then Node 0 left, and on that same update they added, was it like 10-15 bullets to the clip? So now, like, nobody can, you never push a Lancer and think, all right, he's going to run out of bullets now, I'm going to push him. He's always got just enough to down you. The reason they did that was a couple people, they said a couple people complained on the forum that they were upset that when they downed somebody with a Lancer, they would run out of bullets, have to reload and shoot them, or they would have to switch their pistol, which Dana said was a big mechanical play. And it's like, and
kidding, right?
No, I'm dead serious. That's what he said, and it's like,
I bet
the amount of people that would have bitched about the Lancer. They spent all this time fixing it, and then a couple people on the forum said, actually, I don't really like switching to my pistol. They were like, okay, bump it up 10 value, and it's like, well, you've just undone everything you've just done, because now 5 players have got 10 extra bullets. That's 50 bullets raining down on me, and and the latest dev stream I watched yesterday, they said they're focusing on making the game more tactical and making it more readable and a more classic experience. And then someone said, what about, the hyper bounce and the wrap shot? And they said, yeah, we like those, we don't want to get rid of them. And it's like, well, which one is it? They try to appease everybody, and the end result is everyone's sat here bitching, because it's like nobody's style truly, like, you can't really do that you can't really hyper bounce. To be honest, you're going to get lanced, but you can't also predict them, so the strafers aren't happy. And it's like they even said, I remember they said, if this is a quote as well, if nobody's happy, well, that's a good spot. I mean, that sums it up, doesn't it? If nobody's happy, that's a good spot, because he said there's enough people bitching on one side, enough bitching on the other. I think that was Dana. If everybody's bitching, we've probably got it bang on in the middle, and we're right.
That is ridiculous.
Where to me, that just means, hello, nobody's enjoying it.
Yeah. At least the best thing about being independent, right? That we're not.
Yeah,
That's any because we can be like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?"
Well, it doesn't. It just doesn't make sense.
Another thing that they said, this was about the classic tuning and then the main tuning, right? Is that someone said, "Hey, what about finding a middle ground?" And they said, "No. We don't. We want to make this like for the people who want to, play this way." And I just think to myself, they repeat the same pattern over and over, which is they make UE, then they go all the way to Gears 5, and now they're literally reverting every little step that they've spent months testing. Just change it back to the way the game was, which is ridiculous,
Yeah, it's. I mean, even if you, like I say, people have been looking at it as a positive that Classic is coming back, but although I enjoy it, I also sit there and I'm like, yeah, but that's just going. We spent all this time, all these franchises, and now we're going back to something that already existed, and it's taken all this time to go back. It's just another signal that they really don't know what vision they're going for at all.
Yeah.
Another one is,
I respect that about Ryan, even though people put him in charge of everything and always say like it's just his fault, and I think I blame Rod more than Ryan, because Rod
I like Ryan. I've spoke to him personally. I I won't say what he said, but there's clearly, issues going on,
100%.
in the studio. There was problems all around. You can't just pin it on him. And I think when people started absolutely attacking him, I was like, he doesn't make the entire game, guys. Like, even if you disliked it, you had all the pros spamming revert over one patch rather than actually giving some feedback. Let's just spam revert in our Twitter bio.
I remember that.
Yeah. And they want to be, then they wonder why they're not listened to. Guys, why aren't you listening to us? Hashtag revert. That's why they're not listening to you.
The whole chat, they get timed out. They're like, oh, you time me out. Like, hello, welcome to Twitch. It happens.
Yeah, so number one, you don't spam.
It's something else as well is that like TC has to prioritize all these different communities, all these different things. Right? Icebound, for instance, when they had that wall that was up there.
Yeah.
If you sat there, you're basically
invincible.
Yeah. You could just camp there the whole time. So they got rid of that wall. And the esports crowd is like, wow, it took you this and that long. But there were many people months before that asked about that, including me, probably you, plenty of people who just recognized like, this is fucked. This is not good, right? And it just shows this pure disconnect of, to me, the entire esports community. And those of you out there, of course, that are the outliers that do understand these things. I'm not talking about you.
Yeah, there's not everybody. That's another thing they get. A lot of people get. We're not bundling esports players as all esports players are dumb and don't know what they're on about.
If I say that, I still think us as people and the community as a whole, like I try to hold you accountable, you try to hold me and other people accountable. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to call each other out. That's how you know where are you standing with this person? What did they mean? What happens when you test what they think, right? And a lot of the people, they just kind of like, they backpedal and go, nah, we're just trash. I know better. Done.
Yeah.
And that doesn't work.
Especially doesn't work in this game because being good at Gears 5 means absolutely nothing. I hate to break it to you guys. I really do hate to break it to you, but being good at Gears 5 means literally nothing.
I had a dude tell me in 2v2 Nash that when he beat me, I was super tired at like 3 a.m. He beat me. He said like, I said I don't spend my entire youth, twiddling my thumbs on this game. He said, well, I go to college. I have a part-time job. I was like, it's good, man. That's awesome. And, the trash talk even is just so mellow now.
Yeah, there's weird problems as well. For you people that don't know, the way they balance the guns is they balance the guns based purely off metrics. So if a gun is not been used enough, it is not getting enough percentage of the kills, that's when it gets looked at. So until the gun starts to be picked up regularly and used, it will be buffed. That's kind of how we ended up with the Enforcer and the Overkill and the Boltok, like two-shotting everybody before they nerfed it. And again, that's another issue that people... TC seem to think that people aren't picking up the Enforcer because it's weak. Like, oh, no one's picking it up, must be weak. They don't want to pick it up. When really, it's just boring. Like, that weapon doesn't... You don't sign into Gears 5 to go, I'm going to use an Enforcer. Or I'm going to use an Overkill. Or I'm going to fire a rocket out of my Lancer. But they just take it as, oh, this thing hasn't been used enough. We're going to keep buffing it. And then all of a sudden, not only is it a boring weapon, it becomes really strong.
Has no range. It acts like a Talon, like a primary Talon, basically, and that's really it. And you have no reason to pick it up because by the time you get to an Enforcer, you can pick up a GL or a Sniper or something. It's because it's somewhere in the map, or you might as well stick with your Lancer because by the time someone gets to you,
so it either feels useless or oppressive.
Yeah. There's a lot of weapons in Gears 4 and 5 that to me are just... I get it maybe for Horde, but for Versus it made no sense. Like the mortar for Versus in 2 and 3 to me made sense. Someone's camping in a spawn, there's no roof, pick up the mortar, shoot. You had the one-shot kill, the one-shot basically. That made sense to me too. Giant laser beam telling the other player where it's going. You can activate so it charges faster. These are all just normal things, and it was predictable. But now you have the M-bar. You have, all these guns that they work, but they make it all so... Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like B-Chap said about the fabricator. It makes no sense. You just create something out of nothing, and people are supposed to just go, "Oh yeah, cool, M-bar, yeah."
I think somebody asked me this question the other day. They said if you could remove 3 weapons from Gears 5, what would it be?
Breaker mace. Um, for you're talking versus, though,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, versus.
Yeah. Okay. So breaker mace, GL, and probably M-bar.
Okay.
Fucking M-bar.
So
Yeah.
I went with M-bar. And I went with the snub pistol, which might be like what, but I feel like the snub pistol. If you can't switch to it, you're using a lancer or you're using a shotgun, right? There's not that irritating guy. I don't know if you play against them on PC, where they will insta evaporate you down with squad pistols, like in a split second, and it also means that if you do get downed, they can't just insta switch to the pistol and finish you off. I don't really. I mean, it's a pretty hot take, but I don't really see why we need a pistol in the game.
Well, I mean, if you don't have a lancer because you picked up something else and it's out of ammo.
Well, that's your choice, isn't it? That's what I mean. If you've made that decision to get rid of a supportive rifle and you've picked up a power weapon and now it's used, well, it's time to go close. Whereas then they just drop. They basically, it compounds the issue. A pistol almost becomes like a lancer.
I mean, yeah, and what you just mentioned, yeah, but most people can't play like that. And not to mention, what if you do have a lancer, you just run out of ammo, and then what? You have to run around.
Then you go close. Encourages close play.
Oh yeah, you were talking about the situation.
But I do hate the M-bar. And I would also probably get rid of the drop shot because I can't stand
people
that.
are good at it, but it just doesn't have that feel to me. It just looks like a big tube, like a square tube, and you just beep. It doesn't feel. It hasn't, like, the Digger had a sort of feedback to it. The mortar had a feedback to it. I mean, the tri-shot is super overpowered.
Yes.
The mulcher is sort of like, okay, it has stomping power. It can kill somebody in 50 rounds or so. That sort of makes sense. But yeah, with the tri-shot, you've seen it. I've done it as well. On PC, you can start shooting as soon as you start aiming. So you're not even on the cover yet. You're already shooting while you're getting on cover, and the guy dies. I mean, that's just something that it's just shooting. Those things are shooting.
So when you mentioned Icebound and that wall, obviously I feel like that wall was probably in there because of Horde. You want to set up and you want a proper place to set up. And there's a lot of weapons. I know the weapons have different tuning in Horde. Again, that's not really explained, but it's in there. I feel like they have a massive problem of making maps for both Horde and multiplayer.
And arcade.
I think it's just been an issue since Horde was invented, really. I would like to see less maps specifically for
any map on Horde, because the monsters that spawned, the mobs, were equal size to you. You had blood mounts, Cantus, mulchers, maulers, and that was in its own right back then in 2008 and 9 and stuff. It was really challenging because on an insane and hardcore, you had to work together. You didn't have constant ammo pickups. You had to live off the, basically. You had to pick up torque bows and get headshots. You had to. You could you do the shield thing, sure, but not every map you could do the shield thing effectively. You could still lose.
That shield was big as well. When that dropped, woof.
You saw them all, you're like, boys.
You had to pick it up before each round so it wouldn't despawn.
Yeah. That's right. But those are things, it had its limitations, of course. And then in Gears 3, they tried to move away from that more with the fortifications. And that's kind of when, you had the Brumax, you had the Corpsers, you had the Berserkers, Lambertzerker, all these things that suddenly have to fit in maps.
Yes.
And now you have all this crap. I mean, look at Free For All as a perfect example. People beg for Free For All. They introduce it on these escape tiles.
Yeah.
I mean, just give us Wingman in that case on the normal maps. Give us a Free For All 8 players on the normal maps. Which you end up doing, but there's so
Again,
much.
it's another example of TC making some of that we probably don't want. And even if it is good, you might not want to play it all the time. But it's like, if TC makes something, it's like, this is what you're now playing. Deal with it. Like, we made this. This is what you're doing. When, again, does nobody in the studio go, I probably think people want to play, like, free-for-all on their actual maps. Did nobody say that? You just got to question it.
And look, Z, I can swear to you, you can go back a couple months, maybe a year before the game launched, and you'll see that no one actually just said that. Please make free-for-all on maps, 8 players, Nasher only spawn with smokes, not flashbangs. If someone said that, then it would have been like, gotcha. But no one said that, so they made everything else first and then went, shit, this didn't work. Let's go back and do the opposite.
Yeah, they need a hand-holding approach, it seems.
Yeah, and there's even people like Jim Bob, who's an insane player. You had seriously Soapy, insane players that probably had crazy feedback, I'm sure. And what happened? Where does it go wrong?
Again, it's who's listening to that feedback, isn't it? That's the main issue. And I'd like to see way more Horde only maps, because like you say, I watched a dev diary or whatever it was, and they were saying, oh, this is how we made District. And one of the devs was like, it's really difficult, we had to keep the map tight. They wanted us to keep the map tight, but as you can see here, we've just squeezed enough room for a large Brumac to fit in. And it's like, well, you're constantly compromising. And that's what the game feels like. It feels like the Horde players are playing a compromised game, the multiplayer guys are, and everyone's just thought, you know what, I don't need this. I'm gonna leave.
And Gears 3, if you played Gears 3 like the complete game, you played Beast Mode, you played multiplayer, privates, scrims, underground, whatever. You did the whole 9 yards. And then you got a real, even campaign, I would say, with arcade, just replaying the levels. You got a real feel for what Epic was doing. How certain angles would work. Even when they brought back older maps like Gridlock and stuff, you could see the limitations of or the big advantages on Gears 3 with stopping power and everything that Gears 1 didn't have. That didn't make the game feel really good compared to what it was on Gears 1 and 2. Pre-TU6, by the way. But that's something that they, as a studio, they announced when they made UE, I think, that they played all the games in-house for 2 weeks. You cannot teach someone the culture of Gears, the way of Gears, whatever, in 2 weeks, especially not a professional who has to work on a game and not play a game all day long. It's just never going to happen. Yeah. And right there, that's a bad sign.
Well, that is the theory we heard it from Dana himself. The theory behind a lot of their hirings is we can teach you to get up to speed with Gears, but we can't teach you the skills to, say, be a front PR man or whatever. And it's like, that is true, I do agree, but you also do need some people in there that are like, we get what the game's about and what people want. But, they even said, I think, in the classic playlist, that we slowed the run speed down a lot to make it feel more classic like Gears 1. It's like, well, Gears 1 wasn't slow with the run speed. I'm pretty sure it was the fastest one. So there's just this. It's like it's like I feel like a tank of air, and you're full of air. And you feel like you're just deflated. You're like, I've said everything about this game, and it feels like yet at the same time you've said nothing because you've never been listened to. That's what it kind of feels like for the Gears franchise. And people, I think, are just sick and tired of just signing into the game and just having a miserable experience. We haven't even mentioned stacks or the matchmaking not working or not even being able to vote on a map. It's like a year plus since launch, and I'll still be in Discord and somebody will be going, what map is it? Can I vote? Which one are we playing next? And it's like, geez, man. When you're queuing, you can't see how many people are filling up in the queue, so it's either full or or it's not full. Whereas with Halo COD, you see people loading into the lobby one by one, and you're like, okay, you know, we've got 6 people in here. I only need to wait for 2 more. Maybe I'll wait. Whereas with Gears, nope. And then the dev was like, yeah, that's a good idea. He said yesterday, we'll think about that one. So have you not thought about that before? Mm-hmm. It's like you say, unless someone seems to prompt them,
I've said the same thing.
They just give the answer of, oh, nice idea, we'll look at it. It's like, how much looking do you want to do?
Yeah, this is when Gears 5 was announced and a bunch of people were flown out there to play test the game and record and stuff. I asked some of them in private if they played the game that we played at launch, and they said, of course, I can't prove it because I wasn't there, but they said that in the private games, they weren't allowed to change anything, basically, right? Or look at settings or something, or they said that the aim assist was actually turned off in the private game. Because when Gears 5 launched, it was just, man, I've never heard more aim assist from people that didn't even know what aim assist was before.
So,
than I had
were they flashbangs in the game at launch when they tested it and everything?
Yeah. But those people hyped it up in our own community, right? They hyped it up so much, saying this is the best it's ever been. It's been this, that, and the other.
Yeah. I hadn't played the game. The way I introduced myself to Gears 5, because I didn't have an Xbox, didn't play the beta, I watched somebody's Twitch stream. Can't remember who it was. And I watched him play it for like 3 or 4 hours, and everyone he played with was just relentlessly positive about the game. And I was just like, but this looks garbage. I was like, this looks absolutely awful. Like, I was just thinking, well, maybe I'm outdated. Maybe the game's moved on and this is what the community liked. So the game came out, I played it, absolutely hated it, and then I made that video of me absolutely raging about the state of the game, and then I saw a load of comments with other people going, yeah, this is awful as well. And I was like, oh, there definitely are people out there that feel that way. They just don't speak up, but in fairness to them, they're probably tired of speaking up because they don't get listened to.
Yeah, maybe, but I think that's sort of where people like us come in. Like as a community, is part of what you said, in your esports video. When you reach out to people who have no platform that they made for themselves, if you want your message out there, like I might not agree with everything that he wants, but if I invite him to talk or he invites me, I'll let the man talk. Like, what difference does it make? He's just a player like me. We just want to play the game.
Yeah.
We don't have. So whether I get my way and the game works and he can play just like I can, or he gets his way and I get to play, we all fucking win.
Yeah, I was talking to Glint, I believe his name is, the other day, and he was just saying like what I've been saying for a long time. Like, it's like people can't accept that even though we all have different opinions, and the Gears scene likes to hate each other, they like to have the little cliques and the little arguments between, and they like to gatekeep. It's like we all play Gears. We all clearly like the game and want what's best for the game. So can we not just agree that that's what we're trying to do? But instead, you just get this like, it's like if you say something slightly wrong, it's like boom, jumped on. Right, your opinion is now forever irrelevant. I don't think it's a great community to do discussion. That's why I kind of started my channel, because I was like, no one seems to be doing discussion. I've seen you were doing it back in the day. But that's why I started, because I was like, or at least when the discussion was happening, I felt like the people that I know that played Gears weren't like represented. So I was like, right, I'm just going to do my channel with my thing and see if there's any OG players. And I guess there is.
Yeah, there's plenty. That's what YouTube and everything is for people to go look for what they want, and if they can't find it, to make it themselves.
Yeah.
It's just that you've been through the ringer with YouTube and Google and all the garbage. There comes a point where it's like diminishing returns. I saw a bit of your. I hope you don't mind me bringing this up, but your video that you put up.
Oh, what, me cracking up, mate? Right? No, I said me cracking up.
Well, yeah, it was 50 minutes.
Yeah.
I couldn't spare that much time, but I saw a little bit, and I can completely understand when you've done this for years that you get to points where you're like, what the hell is the point? Because you try so hard to not just be there for other people because of what they want from not just you, but from the game, which is the same thing you want. You just want to have fun and enjoy something and share something wholesome genuinely, and not just pretend that it is and then turns out not to be, and then pretend not to ever be involved. That's kind of where most of us are. That's a lot of esports players are making the move to Call of Duty, actually believing that with the attitude they have, the drive that they have, they say that they're going to make something out of themselves.
I think maybe I'm wrong. I hope they'll go on and make it big, but they are in for an awakening call. If they think, unless they've got contacts, I know where. Is it Mental? Mental knows optics. He's obviously a massive player. There are other ones. But these people that are like, well, there's no Gears 5 money in the scene anymore. Time to be a pro COD player. I'm like, yeah, like, wake up, mate. Like, there's so many more players to compete with.
I remember Ashes. I think Ashes and Explosives. Pretty sure Ashes was one of them who commented on someone that said that they didn't get their like the tournament or circuit payout until 6 or 9 months after the tournament was over. Like, for you to wait that long for you to get paid, as a top team, supposedly professional, everything, that's already like just a bad sign of what that is like.
It's very.
And for people who really are interested in making it a living, not just you're not going day to day stressing your paycheck.
Yeah, like a comfortable. This is what I do. Yeah.
Yeah, this is what I love to do. This is what I came here to do. This is what I want to share with the world. All the rest of that stuff. Look, man, this ain't it, bro. You make it something your own, and or do something for yourself. Share with the people that you can, and leave people. Even though I might comment on what you I made one of your replied to one of your videos and made a video about your video. That's just me bringing my view to you on the outside, right? Without you being able to respond, and introducing people from my side to your side.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's people out there, Z. There's people out there that DM me back then saying, "What the hell are you doing, man? Why are you involving with this guy? He's stupid. He's this." I was like, yeah, on some things I agree, but why not, man? Why not?
That's the problem, isn't it? You can't, in the Gears scene, not just the Gears scene, in a debate or an argument, it seems to be on the internet there needs to be a winner, in the sense that somebody needs to be converted. So if I came on this podcast and I said Classic is the best and you hated it, it's like you have to sit and butt heads until someone's opinion has been converted. Whereas I'm just of the opinion that you can just discuss the pros and cons with each other, and you can both leave with the exact same viewpoint you originally had, and it can still have been worthwhile. Whereas it feels like other people, it's like if you aren't converting someone, it's not a worthwhile thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to read a comment out from my chat here, because I think it's an interesting one. Silent says, Gears was always shit. The older ones only felt good because there was no better game at the time. Right? Which I sort of agree with, but that's kind of the problem. Gears was the best thing at the time. It came out with this innovative cover system. Like, it had incredible graphics. Gears 1 graphics still hold up to this day. Really cool theme, and I feel like it hasn't moved on. It hasn't become, like Silent says, it hasn't become better. So now it's just where it kind of is. It's just a game. How many people do you know that actively play Gears? Like, some people don't even know the franchise exists anymore.
To the decisions that TC made, and even though on Ultra and all the rest of it, it can still look great. Come on, man, 30 FPS campaign, 30 FPS Horde, all these things are just, people aren't interested in anymore. And yes, I do agree with what he said on one thing, which is that Gears has always been shit. I think Gears has always been a B to C level game in terms of technicalities, right? Like, it works technically.
Yeah.
It doesn't work well, but it's really fun when you get into it, and that's what matters. It's fun, and as long as you actually have fun and not force yourself to have fun. I mean, everyone can play with a bag of shit, right? like you can play it with a bag of shit with your friends and laugh for a while and then go, okay, what's a bag of shit though? I'm not gonna do that again. But nowadays, you tell someone, no, I play Gears 5, and they go, Gears who?
Yeah, Gears what?
Gears what? There's Gears 5?
I mean, the biggest indication to me where I was like, this series is about to be, it's about to be shaken up, was when they announced that the Gears of War became Gears. I was like, that's interesting. Why the hell would you do that?
Yeah.
They're like, everybody calls Call of Duty COD, don't they? Everyone calls Call of Duty COD. They haven't come out with COD. It's still called Call of Duty.
You guys, okay? We don't want to, make everyone believe you have a duty. It's just call, okay? Call.
Yeah.
It's weird. I mean, even the argument, I saw an interview, an article before Gears 5 released on the decision to change the names of difficulties. So before you had casual, what was it? Casual, normal, hardcore, and insane, I think.
Casual, normal, hard. Casual, normal. You got me questioning now. Casual, normal, hardcore, insane, right?
Yeah, I think so. Whatever the medium difficulty was, whatever, it doesn't matter. And they changed that. Because I think the narrative director or someone said that they didn't want people to feel like casuals playing the game, so they changed it to beginner. To me, when I hear someone say, hey man, do you want to play on casual because we're just casually playing through the game, someone will go, yes, I would like to play casual, thank you very much. Now you walk up to them and go, hey man,
it's a prime
beginner.
it's a prime example of them just like thinking of stuff that just doesn't need to be thought about. It's just a waste of time. Like you compare like the levels of, like, you've seen I don't know if you watched the PlayStation reveal, and they revealed Dark Souls or Demon Souls or whatever it is. Not too big on those franchises, but the end of it ended the trailer with "you died." It was like, yeah, this is what you're getting yourself in for. It's like, where that's what Gears would have been like. It could have ramped up that way. Now it's like, oh, we don't want to offend him. He might be a casual.
Oh boy. I mean, even in Gears 5 reveal, it was just so strange. They said that Gears 4 was their attempt to get our trust. Okay. Good job, I guess. And then Gears 5, they went all out. And what did they show, Z, on the release? Fucking Escape with a bunch of wrestlers. What are we talking about, man? What are we talking about? Where are we going? Not anywhere, apparently.
So where I felt like where I felt disconnected from the community was when I watched when I played through and I watched people react to the Gears 5 trailer, the campaign trailer. There was like shocked faces. Everyone was reacting. Everyone was going, "This is absolutely incredible," and I was just like, "This is dreadful." I mean, what did you think about the campaign?
The whole campaign or the trailer?
Like, well, the campaign and trailer kind of vibe for Gears.
I saw the trailer. I mean, I'm completely anti super SJW pandering, whatever. That's
right.
Like, I've noticed that there's nothing really that's good that comes from it. Seriously, everything turns to shit. But anyway, that's what I'm like.
Moving on.
I didn't do it like that way. But when Gears to me was always about Delta Squad, Marcus, etc. So in Gears 4, you have JD. Basically, you have no idea who JD really is.
Yeah.
His dad was a fucking war veteran of like 60-something years. Basically out the womb shooting lancers. That's what the story was. And then it's all about Kate and Kate's mom. And they want to take it into this different direction. And then Gears 5 comes out, and then they say, well, actually, Gears 4 was all about JD. I didn't notice that about JD at all, but okay. And then in Gears 5, you play as Kate, and you go behind, it's the story of Kate and everything that Kate does. She's just this incredible female protagonist that just knows, JD was a lieutenant. Dell was a lieutenant, I think. What
did she say in the trailer? This isn't about you. It's about me. And I thought, this is about me switching it off. That's what I thought this was about. And it's not, again, it's not because, I hate strong female lead. It's nothing to do with that. It's to do with the fact that Gears of War is a franchise that is about brothers at war, brothers at arms. That's what it's all about. So that's the...
Like, it wasn't about that idea of like, it has to be a woman leading. But if it's a woman leading, like Anya was an intel specialist, right? She was someone in that war for so many years. You'd understand that. Kate is just some chick in the back hills, in the foothills, who learned how to two-piece from someone, some stranded dude from Gears 3. Like, what are we talking about? She knows nothing about tactics, military, anything. I mean, look at the moment that JD was blamed for standing up to the insurrection, to the protesters or whatever, the demonstrators that they called them in the campaign, where Files was like, "Ooh, JD bad because you're a military man." He's a leader.
Yeah.
That's what he needs to do. That is part of the job.
You make big decisions that people don't like.
Coalition of government. This is the massive fascist government that people hate. You're part of it. You're the soldier, and you suddenly go against your leadership. It just doesn't make any sense from that perspective at all. It really doesn't. And TC goes, "Looks good to me. Kate's alive."
Yeah. I mean, I've got a couple notes jotted here, and one of them was that I feel like the marketing for this game was really strange. Like, I just don't think that having someone ride a skiff through some red sand to a janked up version of Evanescence is going to be like, you know what? I haven't paid attention to the Gears scene, but now it's time for me to jump in there. Like,
wait, what's the best Gears trailer to you?
The best Gears trailer, I don't know its name. It's the Gears 2 one where he is
with death.
Yes. Yeah. He's running. He's got the meat shield with the Gorgon.
Man, that shit still gives me goosebumps.
Yeah,
man.
it does though.
Amazing trailer.
So I actually wrote about this, that each Gears trailer was 1 minute, and it was like this sacred minute of like, it's about to get like spooky, dark. It's about to be intense, emotional. Like it's going to have the song in the background. You were like ready for it. You're like, okay, what's the next campaign going to be? What am I fighting for? And that's what it was. Like Gears 1, 2, 3, brilliant. And then Gears 5 was I think it was a 4-minute 50. It was a 4-minute 50 chat, and it was just her and Dell talking about things. I was like, this doesn't make me want to play the game at all. Like, so the type of people that's where I think they go a bit wrong. They're marketing to a certain type of person that isn't gonna like the actual game that comes about. I mean, I just read a comment in my Twitch chat before that said, only in Gears of War 5 can you Halo Spartan Batista bomb a Terminator.
Yeah, and then do like you give everyone the finger,
Yeah, do a little dance after it.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
And again, it's not about like people.
And you pay, by the way, chat. You pay up to $1 sometimes for a fucking mark, a PNG image that they can just swap. They call that work. I mean, it's just incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah, it really is quite baffling. I mean, I've got written down here that we've spoke about the maps, but recently I was watching Dr. Disrespect, who was playing the new COD, Cold War, and he mentioned the fact that he likes those maps. He liked the maps in the beta or whatever because he felt like he was fighting in little rooms. He was like, people that are in their own 3 lanes stick in their own 3 lanes. They're not getting impacted by other people, and that's one of the main irritations for me on Gears 5 is you can be fighting with, like, let's say Lift, or maybe not even Lift, which is the other one. It's like a boom shot with a thing you can turn on, sets you on fire.
Reactor.
Yeah, no, the other one, not Reactor. Reactor's the new one.
Forge,
it's that memorable. I've forgotten.
Saying Reactor because I'm thinking.
It's Forge. I mean, you can be up on the sniper with the button, impacting a shotgun fight going on all the way down at Boomshot.
Yeah.
Or you can impact fights from everywhere and anywhere, especially with spotting, which I don't really like spotting. So all the maps, I feel like you never get that fight. You're in let's say you're playing a mansion and you're on the stairs inside. That's your fight. You're fighting there. You're not being lanced from somebody. You know, there was all little pockets where you thought, like, I'm having a fight underground in Tyro Station. But now it feels like it's just, well, a bit like Panahu. It's just a big flat open field with some cover, and everybody can shoot everybody. It's just not enjoyable.
Yeah, that's you're talking about, you bring up Tyro Station. Yeah, it didn't have the same things that they need to cater to now, like Horde bosses that fly around. You have a fucking Kestrel that goes through the walls. I mean, yeah, you name it. We can think of 10 bugs per feature in the game, literally. And like you said, spotting. I think spotting is okay. I think spotting should disappear once you walk into a smoke grenade, for instance. I think that the pellets that you see now in Gears 5, I think that's a good idea, but I think that should be there in the kill cam if you have that turned on, so that you can see what you hit, and then go back to the blood, because there's something about just seeing blood.
If you have hit markers on, it doesn't show in the kill cam.
No, that's what I mean. Like, just instead of the hit markers, you make it blood again, the blood splatters. Okay. And then when you are looking in the kill cam, you actually see the pellets instead of it.
Right, yeah.
So that way you can actually see, oh, I hit this guy. Yeah. It's crazy how much stuff. They had good intentions. I like the pellets in the beginning, but there's something about doing this for so long that when you see something new, 2-3 days later, you're like, okay, I see all the issues.
The spotting as well, like you say, going in the smoke, so you can't be, if you're in the smoke, then you can pick up a power weapon, whereas now they just follow the hit markers.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like if you spot somebody, they should be then on your TACCOM. So there's not little dots around the map. You have to press your TACCOM to check. It's just a little thing, but I feel like rather than just having 5 dots where you can track somebody permanently, because if you're in a 1v1 and you tag them, you'll know if they're going to push left or right. Whereas if you're constantly pressing your TACCOM, it just adds that little bit of depth to it. I just dislike I find it's really hard to clutch with people spotting.
That's actually something that I would add. I would say in quick match and stuff, leave spotting the way it is, and in ranked, turn that off.
Yeah,
what I mean? Like,
that
the 2 tunings, if that was in the games, things like that just add a little bit more tactical feel to it.
Yeah,
but it's an actual thing too, because you're forcing communication now. You can't just spam it, the click, and just start it off like that.
Yeah, exactly. There's just it's what's irritating about Gears is it's so close to being good. It's so close to being good, and you want to tell your friends, no, listen, come and play Gears with me. It's really good. Like, it's a bit janky, but stick with it. You're going to have a blast. But now I can't really do that, because I can't really lie and tell them stick with it, it'll be a blast, because it's not. But I still feel like it's so close to being a good game. But they just constantly, at every turn, like you say, they'll do one thing good, and then they'll, in the same breath, they'll be tweaking something else that counteracts the thing they've just done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I'm completely on the opposite end of that when it comes to the we're close to a really good game or a good game. I think this game, I don't know what this is.
Well,
this is not,
that's true, actually. I should say we were close. At one point, we just needed a few steps, but now...
It's a bicycle that has wheels now, and it can go somewhere, but functional, I'd rather run.
Yeah, fortunately the bicycle's rolling into the gutter and the gutter's full of shit, but it is going somewhere. We have motion.
Yeah, I mean, and if, this is the neutered version of my critique, right? Because I mean, we can go all out on this, but I don't want to. I want to stay sort of fair, but they give us so little, man. They give us so little to really
I can understand what they're saying. They say that Gears 5 will end up the biggest Gears. Technically, yeah, it's going to have a lot of modes and a lot of stuff, but...
Will it though, man? I mean...
Is that really what you're going to call the biggest? Just mode after mode and different...
You got free roam, you're like, open world Gears of War. Yeah, open world and a fucking skiff to a set piece somewhere. I mean, someone said it about Halo Infinite, that Gears 5 campaign was basically a beta for Halo Infinite. And from what I've seen so far, it almost looks 1-to-1. Because the same people worked on both games, I think. And I mean, that just goes to show, even with Rod, it's kind of crazy how much trust we put in Rod Ferguson. But when you look at his record, basically, when it comes to the studios, he is that guy. He is that guy that basically comes into a studio that has a dying game, or a game that's not being sold, that's not being shipped.
He's a shipper.
Yeah, he's a shipper.
He is.
Yeah.
He knows how to ship a game. Diablo is dying, and he's going to ramp that up.
So the boat goes out, and it gets fucked, basically. Yeah. I don't remember at the top of my head which games he worked on. Oh, CSGO on Xbox. Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. He got that shipped. I mean,
I was the sucker that downloaded that.
Yeah, same. Yeah. Played one game against bots. I was like, never again.
I mean, what's odd about Gears 5 is normally if you speak to somebody and you say, "Oh, do you like Gears 1, 2, 3, whatever?" There'll be somebody out there going, "You know what? Yeah, I really like that." I don't see that many people saying they like Gears 5. I feel like everybody is just... Basically, everyone is completely bored, but there's probably a few people left because they like Gears, they like the movement, and they stick with it, but I don't feel like anyone's enjoying the game. Like, do you speak to anyone that comes on and says, like, "Oh, I've been really enjoying it this week"?
Some people, yeah.
You do?
Yeah,
the only people I find that enjoy it are the PvE people.
Yeah, I could say, yeah.
I don't have a problem with that either.
No, same. I mean, I like Escape. I think it's challenging enough, but once you get to a certain stage, it's done. You run the same stack over and over, and you basically kill everything, except for certain mutators. Basically, make it impossible to run certain groups. That's just the way that it is. But I'm at the point again, like we're now a year in. Is Escape really the mode that they wanted to advertise when the game came out, right? That's the first thing they showed, right? On stage, Escape. Like everyone was like, oh, okay. And then at the end, they show Terminator. Whoa! And I was happy on one end because I was like, I've always wanted Terminators. To me, I think, I think if they were gonna do robots, I think they should have done something that looks like a Terminator, because to me, in my experience of Terminators, and I fucking love Terminator, is that in the right setting, say the Gears of War 1 and 2 atmosphere, seeing a Terminator type character would have been absolutely incredible. Think of a Locust Terminator.
Yeah.
Boosh. That would be insane.
I mean, people do rag on the Terminator, but
we get a fucking meat spin of leeches.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, whenever I spoke to people that played Gears 5, the one thing they all said was the Terminator was the best looking skin. And I couldn't really argue with them. It did look pretty fucking cool. Like, but should it be there? But again, like, those types of things, that's not the reason why Gears 5 is flopped. Like, putting a Terminator in, that's not the reason it's flopped. I feel like it's... People they've created a really noob-friendly game. They didn't teach the noobs anything. Awful tutorials, awful introduction, awful launch. Like, the servers didn't work for like a month. And everyone just thought, "Oh, I'm not getting into this franchise," and they've left. So I don't think they can recover from the launch.
I had a big reality check at the end of Gears of War 4 when I checked the achievements one day, because I'm big on teaching people how to play. I love teaching people things that I figured out, so I can help them, or they can experience the game in a better way, maybe, or do whatever with it, basically. So I like to give people those tools. But when I found out that about 15% or something on Gears 4 in all those years reached like rank 50 or something, all right, level 50.
Yeah,
I was like, what did I do this for, man? What was I thinking?
Oh yeah, that again, that comes back to that thing where you were saying, I understand how sometimes you can feel like, what's the point? Because again, like coming back to esports, I do get it from the pros as well. Like, people aren't going to make guides and stuff if there are no players. But at the same time, I don't think there are many players because there are no guides, and it is very different. So then it becomes like that's what TC should be focusing on, not like in the last dev blog. They spent like 10 minutes talking about we could create a new type of shooter controls scheme. I'm like, do you really think that's why the game is bad? Like, that's why nobody plays it, and that's why there's no players, because people turn in and go, "Well, this shooter control scheme's weird. I'm not playing this game." Like, no. But they just seem to. It's like they get focused on something and they can't let go.
Yeah.
They can't drop it.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible to watch and experience and like see people come in that are genuinely excited to play. I had someone actually come into my stream yesterday when I was playing a little bit that said he hadn't played in years. He just bought it. It looked great. And he said, does it play like Gears 1?
Tell him, run. Get out of there whilst you can.
Whoa. No. And don't go into it looking for that, right? That's just the thing. And we got to be honest, you know, the people in your chat, the people in my chat, the only reason why we continue is them. To me, anyway.
100%. If this was any other game where I just played on my own and I didn't interact with the community, I'd just stop playing it immediately. Because there's no reason for me to play Gears 5. I sign in, my queue time is like an hour. I play a stack, I have a miserable experience with the balance, the map, everything, and then that's it. Like, I could be doing a lot better things than that.
Yeah, I mean, anyway, like, dude, time is valuable. Time is the most valuable thing we all have, really. And to waste it, not having fun or progressing in your life is the worst thing. That you won't get it back. You won't get it back, and that's something like in this game, many of us are trying to recreate what we had, or get TC to recreate what we had, and that's kind of why I'm doing this now and not focus on giving TC feedback, because I've learned the harsh lesson of many years of trying Reddit, the TCA forums, another failed attempt, which I predicted would fail because they do the same thing they did before. It is just empty promises of what they want to do. And then instead of just admitting, like, when we're just going to scrap these things and not even talk about them anymore, focus all our energy on making the game great, they give us all this like, hey, look, here's a gimmick. Join our TCA. Join our esports stream, and look how alive it is. No, man, it's all fabricated.
TCA partnership is just, we're going to give you some skins so you can post a skin video to YouTube. That's my perception of it. That's all I ever see. I've got this skin, I'm posting a skin video.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that's just how it comes across, right?
Yeah, it might not be that, but that's the way it comes across.
There's no in-person interviews between these people. There's no something that still makes me laugh.
I've not seen a partner interview, a partner quote, or anything. It's just, here's a skin, go post on YouTube about it.
Yeah.
And I mean, let's be honest, it's like, without being too flamey, there's very few of that group, shall we say, that's critical.
Or consistent, even.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I've seen TCA partners there's like some Fortnite guy that hasn't uploaded Gears in like 2 years. And like, I applied for it, I was rejected. I mean, it didn't really mean anything, it's just a skin. But I was like, oh, go on, I'll apply for it. But this dude that plays Fortnite, okay. Like, fair enough. But it's very strange.
Incentive. The same. What do you think about quitters? There's been a big quitter issue for years, right? What would you suggest as a solution for quitters, to combat quitters?
Well, I think the main... So, say you have a quitter in Call of Duty and you're playing quick match. There's a lot more people in that lobby, so when someone leaves, like 8v7 is not the same as 4v3, you know? Like, it feels a lot different. So, and because there's a lot more players, that spot gets filled up a lot quicker. So in a quick match, you know, I think it's okay. Just if there was more player base, the way it currently is, drop in, drop out is great. In ranked, they like, really need to build an actual ladder system, like that people respect and care about. Because otherwise, every game going, right, every single popular game has this ladder system, this grind element. Like, whether you like it or not, esports is massive. And if you can't sit down and be like, this is where I am on the ladder, this is where I'm going to try get to, and like when I get there, the quality of games will go up. There's no point putting time into it. Like, if you now get to, say, Masters, you can play 2 leagues below. So a gold player can play diamonds and bronzes. So why would you care about climbing? And on top, like you say, with the quitters, so you're going to spend all that time to play shitty matches, and on top people quit. I've done it before as well. I've started quitting now because I don't enjoy the game. So if I play on a map or against a stack, I just leave, and you can queue instantly again. Like, surely that's not right. You shouldn't be able to just back out of a ranked match and instantly search.
And permaban you retrospectively.
Should be a massive time penalty.
Okay, so a time penalty.
It's a time penalty, or not just a time penalty, because people would wait that out or just never play the game. It should be like you've quit out of ranked. You need to complete 3 quick play matches without quitting. Or something, okay. But
if you're banned of matchmaking right now, you're banned of online play.
Yes.
So you can do quick play.
I don't think you can do quick play.
No, you can't. I've tried.
Yeah, because I was watching Ugly God stream, and he hopped on, famous Ugly God. I think he had like bumped up the view count instantly, and he signed in. He had a 7-hour suspension, and he's like, right, whatever, we'll play customs. Quick matches, couldn't play quick match, just went off to play COD. Like, that's not a good system. And then you speak to TC, and they say, we know it's important, it's going to be coming, we're going to be dealing with it in Op 5, Op 6, and you're thinking, bro, it's been like 3 years development. You have probably, I imagine there was quitters in Gears 4, that must have been a problem.
Yeah.
So you've had all of Gears 4, all of the development, and another year and a half year into Gears 5, and still they're saying, you know what, we might have a look at that. Meanwhile, we're expected to put time in and not be frustrated. I think that's like disrespectful, to be honest. I think they're just not respecting our time. Say, you go play ladder, but everyone can quit out, but deal with it and come back, keep playing until in 6 months' time it might be fixed, it might not be.
Yeah, that's always this same story. Might be fixed.
Maybe, might be. We'll pass it on to the team. We hear you. We thank you. Thanks for the feedback. We'll put it onto the TCA board. We'll put it on the Trello board.
Have you guys seen our new Trello?
Have you seen our new Trello board that absolutely nobody cares about? Thanks.
Yeah. Now, my suggestion to combat Twitters would be quitters would be the opposite, is to reward people more for staying. So not just consecutive match bonus, but if you do not quit games, then you get a permanent, until you quit, it lowers, of course, XP boost, rank boost, credit boost, whatever.
Yeah, a less entry fee, whatever.
Yeah, and the more people you have in your team, so if you're playing by yourself and you're in a 5v5 and one teammate quits, you're 4v5, you get a percentage of that player that quit, basically. So everybody gets 2.5%. I'm just saying something here, right? Everyone gets 2.5% from the get-go, on top of what you already get from not quitting at all. And that can build up to 25% total. So that even if you're playing by yourself, solo player, right, going against a 1v5, you even getting one single kill on 5 people, right, or a team, you would still sort of get enough points to stay and not be, doomed by, if you're a diamond, I think it's 1,750 points or 1,700 points just to enter the game.
Yeah.
You not only perform really well, you need to obviously win half the time too. And if people quit on your team,
you can't win.
Good luck. So if you give more of a incentive to stay, more people are inclined to tell people like, look, stay, please. Even if we lose, just stay. You'll get enough back. I've told you this 100 times, and they go, "No, now we're gonna go so far. We'll even ban you up to 2 years." Well, someone banned for 2 years is never gonna come back ever.
Yeah, I agree. You can go two ways, can't you? I think there should be an initial little penalty that says, hey, you know, you probably shouldn't quit out, go and complete a few matches. And by the way, if you actually do play your next ranked match and you stay in, here are the rewards you're gonna get, you know? Like, it needs to teach, don't quit, and then it needs to, like you say, because I think, like you say, it's way easier to reward somebody than punish somebody. It just is. Everybody likes rewards in games, microtransactions, boxes, everything. Like that's the way you do it. But that
if you keep playing, right? If you have a certain you know, no disconnect, no quit rating or something, after a week you get 100 iron. I don't know, I'm just saying something, you know, just something to really tell people, like, look, if you stay in the game, just play the game, bro.
Yeah, if you're having a miserable experience in Gears 5 right now, and you're in the game, you're losing, you're 1-0 down, you've just been stomped, you're against a stack, why would you stay in the game? Because if you rank, because as well, people say, oh, you lose your GP. But if you play in 2 ranks above or below, your games are a fiesta anyway. They're not accurate, they're not close, so you don't really care about the quality of game. So you just quit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And when TC announced this in the start of Gears 5 about the quitting stuff, I was heavily against it. I replied to that shit like a storm. And everyone's like, why are you defending quitters? I'm like, I'm not defending quitters. I'm defending people who want to still play. Like, I'm one of those people. I'm in the game, and my teammate Billy Bob, who just got the game, controller disconnects, batteries fall out, doesn't know how to put them back in because mommy's not home. What are we gonna do? You know, Game Pass boy with $1, he's like, oh, it's my first game on Gears. He quits because, hey, I don't want to play this. He turns his Xbox off, turns his Kinect on, Xbox off, boop, gone.
And you sit there and you finish that game and you get nothing.
Hard against tryhards, you know, and that's the way the Gears is. I get that, but give me something, man. Give me something.
Yeah, there is absolutely nothing with the game. It is just straight up. You stay because you want to stay. There's nothing else actually making you stay. And very few people in modern times have that stick ability. Everybody quits.
Yeah.
It's battle royale. You know, I've died. No gulag. I'm leaving. That's what it's like. No gulag. I'm out. Peace.
Yeah.
Round 1's over, and I don't think I can win. Peace. And it's like, well, what about the people that want to stay? Like, they might not win, but again, even if that comes right, and they create this perfect. This is what's so weird about TC is even if they create that perfect quitting balance and rewarding, and it comes after 2 years, who cares? And then secondly, you probably be worried that it won't go into the next game. they'll just be like, well, that was a good idea. Let's never do that one again.
As a company, right? If they could even make it so that you have to buy boost to get that feature of extra, you know, XP or whatever. Anyway. I just gave him a really shitty idea.
It's like you mean like kind of like prime matchmaking in CS, where you've reached a certain level, you've played a lot, maybe you get a ton of XP for completing the game. Once you've reached a certain level, it goes, you're clearly a valid member of the community. Here you go, have a break. You know, you here's some bonus GP that you can quit or you can not quit. Sorry, if you know that it can dish out when there's a quitter to save you some pain.
Basically, yeah. You get some extra, so you have a little buffer, just in case. Because look, man, you can talk about quit penalties all you want, but if you have a game that barely keeps people in the game because of connection issues, you're starting off, you know, 10-0 behind. What are you doing? You're punishing people because you, as a developer, cannot differentiate from people quitting and disconnecting. And then you can say, well, you have a rejoin option. Yeah, what if the rejoin option doesn't work? Because it doesn't.
Yeah, you have a rejoin option for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you have to reset your router on your console and get back on Gears in 5 minutes, that's pretty difficult. I mean, the game doesn't put a bot in ranked, So why can't the guy just rejoin up until the end of the game? If he wants to come back and you're holding in, and then he comes back, that's great. Why would you not let him rejoin infinitely?
Yeah, it's yeah, these are all things, I've talked about this ad nauseum and argued till the cows come home. But what would you say? Let's talk a little bit about the like a motivator for people who still want to continue playing, who still want to continue going somewhere with it, maybe
What?
stream, maybe make YouTube videos or something, just for themselves.
So are you asking me how would I motivate someone to keep going in the Gears scene?
Yeah, in general, just be part of the community in a proactive way.
Okay. I would probably say only do it if you enjoy it. Don't try to turn it into something. Like if you don't initially enjoy it, that's always going to be it's going to be way more difficult to continually do something, and you do have to continually do it in Gears 5 because it is shouting into the void. So if you don't really like doing it, you're probably going to struggle. But I would say like if you don't want to say do a channel or something, you just want to help the game, I would just say like just have a play session. Go and have a play session of the game and just write down 3 paragraphs of what you're currently feeling and why. Because at the moment, I feel like everyone just shouts. No one like pauses, and I feel like it's yeah, they should listen more, the devs. But in fairness, would you wanna scroll through Twitter or the forums and read some feedback of some guy shouting like?
It's a company that's out there to make money. As long as these people keep paying me to do the wrong thing, I'll just keep doing it, man.
Yeah.
And like,
also, yeah, I would say as well. I would say vote, not sort of vote with your feet, but if you're not in, a lot of people come to me and they say I'm not enjoying Gears 5. How do you keep playing? Well, when I'm not enjoying Gears 5, I don't play because that would be idiotic. There's a lot of people that play Gears 5 when they're not enjoying it, which I don't understand. That they don't owe you anything. If you're not enjoying the game, don't play. Mm-hmm. Think about why you don't play. Maybe voice that. Don't go over the top. Put it in the right channel, the right place. But ultimately, if you keep playing the game every single night, like I'll see people, they'll come in and they'll say, it was such a shit experience, and they'll have like chrome steel. I'll be like, what are you doing? Stop. Like, there are other games out there. Like, I know when I quit Gears, I only played Gears 1, 2, 3, and I quit Gears, and I had like withdrawal, man. I was like, I just want that Gears fix. And there was no other game like it, but eventually you keep trying different games, and you'll find something, and I think it's important, even if it's not your main game, that you've got a secondary game to play. Because a lot of people, I feel like, they just come on Gears, they're already in a mood with the game. Like, if you're, like, I do it as well. If I'm in the mood with Gears, and I go on Gears, there's nothing more certain than it's going to piss me off. Like, so I try to play it only when I'm in the mood for it, when I'm going to enjoy it. And if I don't, I try to think about what's stopping me enjoying it. Because I feel like if you just, yeah, there's a lot of people that can't quit, it feels like, from my perspective. You might see differently, but I see a lot of people that are like, oh, I really like the game, but it's bad. I'm not sure what to do. And it's like,
started about it
just have 50 times. Yeah, just have a break. It doesn't need to be, I'm quitting. Like, I see this a lot on Twitter. I'm uninstalling, I'm quitting the game forever. Well, you're not. We know you're not. So maybe just take a week break.
Yeah, it drives you up the wall when, the frustrations. Everybody knows the frustrations if you're trying to help, and they
see someone in your chat, Admiral Deity, it's hard to walk away. Yeah, it is, but you're not walking away forever. If you don't enjoy a certain patch, you can say, I'm really not enjoying that patch. And we all know TC balance off numbers. Like, as long as if there's numbers there, it's pretty much going to be the same, the way it always is. Like, if you're not enjoying the game, you don't owe TC anything. It's their job to keep you playing. There are millions of other free-to-play games, other games out there. And I'm not saying, go and quit Gears. No, I'm just saying, like, I don't think it's healthy to relentlessly play a game you don't enjoy. So like if you're asking me how do you stay motivated on Gears, I would say I take regular breaks. If I'm enjoying it, boom, I'll grind it out. I'll really play it a lot. If I'm not, I'll be like, you know what? I'm just going to play something different. I'm not here to sit and get mad at it because it doesn't, like, take it from somebody that has been banned on the Gears forum, that has spoken to developers, that has spoken to people. Getting mad, it literally doesn't do anything. Even though you think it might do, it just doesn't.
As long as, like you said, if you keep paying them, that is the only thing next to your time in the game that matters. It really is. Because you can say and yell and whatever, but if you stay, then you're just helping them do more. I mean, why would you listen to someone who pays you up to sometimes $1,000, $2,000 to do it wrong? I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
If somebody at your workplace said, I absolutely hate working for you, I can't stand you, and every time he turned up and he worked perfectly,
yeah,
you're going to keep him on. Like, that's just the way it is.
Yeah. Yeah, or if a customer comes in and says, I absolutely hate your services, but they pay an insane amount for it, and then stay, what? Okay. Well, you hate our services, but you hate theirs more. Right? I mean, it's not necessarily good, but it's apparently better. And with Gears just has no competition. That's the thing. It has no other company out there that show any real. I mean, I've seen, what's it called? Valorant.
Do you mean Rogue Company?
That was someone fucking yelling out there. Yeah, Rogue Company, I think, by Epic, right? Epic Games.
I'm not sure, but I know it's like a third-person game, isn't it?
Yeah, to me, it was like, oh wow, it's amazing. But when I see that, I kind of see the same mechanics that always screws with Gears, is the third-person peek around the wall, and it has strats. I get that, but I just
there's always going to, like, a third-person game, like you say, you're going to be able to peek around walls. It's a completely different beast to like single player. First person. You know, it's just way different. It's going to turn people off. It's going to make people enjoy it, and that is what's hard about Gears. Is obviously, where else is there a proper cover-based third-person shooter?
PlayStation.
Also, like, I think Gandhi might have said it to me. Like, you need like high APM. Like, you're constantly doing actions on Gears. Like when you're chaining kills, you're pressing all the buttons. You're wall bouncing. You're swapping. Your reaction shot. You're doing this and that. It does feel good. So if you're not enjoying Gears, just take a break, and then when you come back, just try to do the things that you actually enjoy. Like, or as well, I think somebody yesterday said to me, like, it's kind of like, although it's sad, if you can't beat them, join them. Listen, if you're getting absolutely lanced and you're trying to wall bounce, you're just going to have a miserable time. It is a kind of, these days, if you can't beat them, join them, and you do have to do it sometimes. You don't have to do it all the time, but relentlessly throwing yourself into 5 lancers, it's not going to be fun. Like,
nope.
So if that is all you want to do, maybe it's time to try custom, find some like-minded players that want to do that. Otherwise, it's time to, like, I don't want to say quit Gears, but you know what I mean? Like, just take a step back. Which seems weird. It's like, how do you stay motivated for Gears? And my answer seems to be quit.
No, sometimes.
But I feel like sometimes, like, when you stop playing a game, like I stopped playing from Gears 3 to basically Gears 5. There was loads of games I really liked that I played, and then there was loads of games that I hated, and then I realised, like, okay, this is what Gears offers me. That none of these other games I've played offer me, and this is how I like to enjoy it. Like, I like to just play an hour a day, not get too hectic with it, and then come off it. Like, it's not the game I'm going to grind as an esports. It doesn't have a good enough ladder system, queue times, matchmaking. So I don't play Gears for that. I just play Gears as a, let's hop on, see how it goes. If it's awful, I'm off. If it's good, that's a bonus.
Yeah.
So that's what I'd say.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I think many people are. I mean, I'm in a certain way still even grateful that I can even get a game. I mean, these days with the matchmaking update, I can find games in like 3 minutes or so. King of the Hill and TDM and stuff, which is good. I'll be playing against people with 150 ping, which isn't good, but at least I have a game. You know, I'm not sitting in the lobby for 50% of my playtime.
Yeah, that's another problem, isn't it? The whole lag, screen difference, netcode.
Yep.
But I don't feel like the game's that bad when everyone's on a decent ping. There's still major issues. It's when you get those massive laggy players, but again, that's just because there's no players. Like, honestly, my choice is get what you're given. Maybe it's a bit different on console, but it's literally, for me, like, you get what you're given. So that's all I can do, really.
This is everyone. I remember when 5 came out, everyone was like, "Don't play this shit game. Go back to 4." Da 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 da. They said the same thing with UE. They said the same thing with Gears 3 when UE came out. Look, you cannot go back to an old game. It will not work. Your whole franchise will die if you, as a community, will just go back to the old game and only play that, because the developers need you to play the new game.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's their job to keep you playing. And for me personally, it feels as if TC just push us and push us and push us to become a group of people that none of us want to be. You know, we all want to be Gears players, I guess, and love Gears of War, but that they took the of war off is like, there goes us. We're not involved anymore, really.
Yeah, I understand as well. Like, you'll say to somebody, "Listen, diving into 5 Lancers isn't fun." You'll say, you know, if you actually want to have a decent time, you are going to have to do a bit of Lancering back. And then people say, "Well, that's not what I want to do. I want to play Gears." And it's like, well, just don't play. Voice that opinion, you know, because otherwise you're just going to get so frustrated. You're going to get really frustrated playing this game. Like, and people really do think it's like, I don't know, like, it's because I guess they've played the franchise for so long, they don't want to let it die, that they feel like this duty of like, oh shit, if we all stop playing, it is going to be dead. You know, maybe that's what they're thinking. But
yeah, remember that's not your.
That's not your job.
Oh, exactly.
Your job isn't, I'm going to play this game to keep this game going. Your job is, well, you don't have a job really. Your job is just to play the game. If you don't like it, don't play, and they'll figure it out. You can help them, give some feedback, but there's
we're really at that point now. We're at that stage that I think many of us tried to prevent by yelling at the screen, telling them to stop. Just keep going and going and going, and just like every other company, you know, once you turn against your actual base, it's pretty much over.
they're always going to have a difficult time, Gears 5, because I don't know how you feel, but every single game that comes out, 1, 2, 3, 4, Judgment, UE, every single game's massively different. Like, it just plays different. It is different.
I like Judgment, but not as, I didn't see it as a Gears of War game. I just saw it as like, okay, this is a game that has Gears mechanics, and I just played it to have, you know, a laugh and not worry about anything. There was nothing serious to really play for, just for some pastime. But then with these games, you know, they put these expectations in our head. You know, they told us all these things. I mean, you can guys, everybody can go back on Google and look up any interview. They've said so many things that didn't do, like not even close, not even started doing.
Yeah,
like for multiplayer, that we can make our own maps. I mean,
it's bad. It's really bad.
Yeah,
you can't say anything. One of the main reasons we got into Gears 5 was I thought to myself, yo, I like Gears. I've always thought I could do a map. You can make your own map, sweet. And then they say like, yeah, we realized that wasn't a priority from the community. It's like, have they ever asked us?
Yeah.
I've never seen that poll. I've never been asked.
That one person that said, "No, it's no problem. I don't care about maps." They said, "Oh, there you go. See."
They just do some strange things. Like, I don't have a problem with tile-based maps. If there was 50 different tile-based maps, you'd be like, okay, but when 3 tile-based maps take 6 months, of course I'm going to say, well, I'd rather have 3 proper maps. So they get these weird things where they spend like a year developing all these tiles to then scrap it. I don't know. It's a very strange game. They're consistently, what feels like there's a lot of what's the word? There's a lot going on, Like when I read the patch notes, I read the dev streams and everything, I'm like, geez, there's a lot of content here. There's a lot going on, but at the same time, there's nothing.
Yeah,
It's a lot of words.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is, fortunately.
Reverting to the old experience. I think we should sort of call it there.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's good.
Answer some questions from the chats if anybody has any.
Any questions from the chat, anyone? Let's take a few. Gears is like heroin. It's dangerous.
And then you have to pay. Pay those microtransactions.
I'm taking
about NFT, man. Look, you guys spend $1 billion on microtransactions and you can't sub to this dude. Hello?
Yeah, go support your content creators, guys. These RGB lights, they don't run themselves.
They're the only things that still matter.
That's what are my expectations from Gears 6? Oof. Honestly,
you want to go there?
I think it's going to be cut down in size and it's going to be a disaster. That's my expectation. Sadly. How would I feel about the one shot down coming back?
How do I feel about the one shot down coming back?
Yeah.
Or how would I feel?
Someone asked that. How would you feel about the one shot down coming back?
I would take the J Motions approach instead of trying to fix it per se. I would just abuse the hell out of it until they do something about it.
So I don't like the one shot down mechanic that much, but I do like the fact if you're in a 1v2, you might actually be able to take a 1v2 with a bit of RNG.
Yeah, but RNG, man.
Well, you know, there are big games with RNG like Dota 2.
Think about what you're saying here. You're saying if you're in a 1v2, you can win that with RNG. Well, they can beat you down faster because they have the same RNG. They can both get a one shot down on you. I mean, yeah.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it's an idea. Like Dota 2 has a bash. So it's a feature where you buy an item, you have a % to bash. Sometimes you stun them 3 times in a row, and sometimes you don't. Now that sounds terrible, but that game's played for ridiculous amounts of money.
That's terrible. Yeah, well, if the rest of the game's fine, then I could deal with it. But
in a 2v1 currently, you've pretty much got no chance. Maybe the one shot down isn't the answer. Maybe it is, but I think the question is more, how the hell do we take 2v1s? And that's probably just actually improving the skill of the game.
Mm. Yeah, true.
Like netcode, you know, less gear, whatever you want to do, more poke, whatever the theory you come up with. More skill in the game, so when you're fighting 2 people, you're not just wanting to put your pad down. Really?
Yeah, true. So I got a question on my end saying, what do you think should be the first thing they need to fix in the game's current format? So our state, rather.
What do I think the first thing they need to fix is?
Yeah.
Screen difference, netcode. You know, like on your screen, you're around a wall, you get clipped, or on your screen you shoot, on his screen you haven't shot. I can understand if he's on 300 ping, and you're on 100 ping, or you're on like 20 ping. I understand there's going to be some difference, but there are moments where you can be both on 20 ping, and I can shoot him, duck into cover, and he can shoot me where I was. Like, there shouldn't be that much difference with low ping. There's clearly something going wrong there.
Yeah, I mean, interpolation and all the rest of it that comes to netcode, they never showed us how this one works. I mean, I've seen it in Gears 4.
I've seen the trigonometry.
Yeah, basically. But again, when you're playing the old Gears games, you can kind of expect when something would happen. I mean, you still got bullshitted, don't get me wrong, plenty of times. Super bullets and all the rest of it, and dusting and shit. But yeah, netcode is one of the biggest things. One of the reasons Gears 4 felt so off is because their servers ran at 30 hertz, which for multiplayer versus at running at 60, you're basically skipping half the game. That really is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they tried their best at the time, which I believe, or Microsoft only allocated a certain amount of space for them or systems for them, hey, okay, that's the way it is. But admit that.
Yeah. Just say, listen, we're completely limited, but to not comment. A new player comes in, forget mechanics and all this. The first thing they're going to notice as a new player is, bro, I just shot that guy, and on his screen, I didn't even shoot. Like, that's fundamentally, that's what he's going to notice. Not, oh, the gib range is too big, or the slide speed's too fast, or whatever. That's what they're going to notice. Bro, I shot him, or bro, that guy's lagging and he killed me. That's the first thing they're going to notice.
Yeah, true.
See if we've got any other questions.
The one of yours.
I think Joe asked one. Dutch, what are your thoughts on pepperoni pizza?
Tell him what I told you earlier.
I think Dutch said he could live off pizza.
That too. I actually sent Z $5 because I asked him, "What's your favorite pizza?"
I can't answer that. It's a security question. Well, not getting that one out of me.
Right. So he said a thing, and yeah.
Yes, that's right. It's question time. We're wrapping up now. If anyone's got any last questions, fire away. How do you like the weapon slide? Yeah, I think the weapon slide should be in Gears 5. Why not? Although I don't know how I'd do that on PC. I might break my wrist trying to do that. But you probably should be able to slide. Like, why not? Or is that going to confuse them?
I think that's another netcode problem.
Dutch, do you think Cliffy B could fix the franchise?
Not. I think Cliffy's from back in the day, absolute prodigy in game design and what he's capable of. But I think the way the industry is now, same thing happened with Lawbreakers. Is an insane game, but way too over the top for what it was trying to do. I had it. It was really fun, but just marketed the wrong way, doing everything the wrong way, other than what the game was like. It's really good balance. Not per se with every hero, but just as a start for a team like that, they did a really good job. But no, I don't think Cliffy could fix this.
No, I don't think it's I don't think it's a full rejob, right? Like, you need a new team. Cliffy just coming in isn't gonna. At the end of the day, it's Microsoft. He's not gonna change everything, is he, on his own?
Microsoft is so corporate, man. I think they have their hands more on things than TC does, and that they care to admit, and that they're even allowed to.
What are my thoughts on Gandhi's shotgun? It's absolutely disgusting. He's unskilled. It's a broken 2-shot down. He's overpowered. Who else have we got? Alright, Joe, I'm not answering that question. Shut up.
Pineapple on pizza, nasty or delicious?
Wait, what was that?
Pineapple on pizza, nasty or delicious?
If it's on a thin and crispy pizza and it's well done, I think pineapple can work.
What's a well done pizza to you then?
A well done pizza, like slightly beyond brown.
Slightly beyond brown.
Like, okay. It's getting borderline to, like, is this burnt?
Really? Slight brown and of burned.
A nice crunch.
Nice crunch. Basically, like eating like a ration from Gears. It's got some Cheeto dust on there.
Cheeto.
What else we got? We got anything else? You're right, maybe.
Question for Dutchonidas: where do you think the franchise is heading?
I mean, it is in the toilet. That's where the franchise is.
Where's that toilet going?
Where's the toilet going? Well, they're trying to build some wheels on it so it can actually move. But to me, a toilet should just stay a toilet. It shouldn't try to be anything else. If Gears would just go back to what it was, I think, and they would do that properly, I think they would bring back thousands of people that had enough money to support the devs for a long ass time to just make what we want them to make. Because honestly, it's going to sound super sellout, but I would pay for a subscription for Gears if I knew that the developers I'm supporting are making a game for our community, for what we want. I would have no issue with that. Really. I would pay more money for a game like that. It's no problem at all. But they don't deserve it. call me cruel, but just don't.
Yeah,
deserve it.
I support games companies like Path of Exile or StarCraft in the past, and I'm like, yo, this game suits me. I like it. They're doing the right thing. Here's some support. I haven't bought anything from Gears 5. Nothing. Not a single skin. Let's take 2 last questions. Joe, do you think a Gears Battle Royale would work?
You asking me?
Anyone? Yeah.
Right. Anyway, you talk to yourself. What do you think?
Me, you, yeah. I mean, what do I think? Probably no. Not because I don't think it... Well, it could work, but the scale of a Battle Royale for it to be fun, and I guess it's going to have vehicles, like, say, a Dizzy rig would have to be in there, etc. It could be really good, but you're going to have to be able to interact with every piece of cover, which probably would blow up an Xbox or a PC with the amount of detail that would have to go into. But I think I think it could work. But I'll be honest, like battle royales are kind of boring, but it could be cool. The krill come in instead of the gas or something.
Yeah, that's something they mentioned on the stream. If you remember, they talked about the gas idea, the Venom idea with execution, but for performance wise, it was awful. That's the main reason I think it wouldn't work. Next to that, I think Wingman in Gears 2 and 3, especially 2, was Gears' Battle Royale to me. It was like the perfect mix of some RNG in there. And if you were just good at Wingman, you could win a lot of games and just have fun playing with one buddy, going against whatever's there, and that to me felt like the Gears of War version of Battle Royale. I don't see the vehicle things going well. I don't see the performance going well. Dude, netcode with 5 people or 10 people is already with 4 people in 2v2s is already a nightmare. Imagine 20. Hello?
Yeah, in theory, like people are saying in chat, Hammer of Dawn strikes going off. All this stuff would be awesome, but can you actually... That the reality would be like awful, probably. It could work in theory, but I don't think it realistically would. And shall we end on a nice question?
Sure.
Are you excited for Christmas?
Of course. Kappa Club.
It wasn't.
Kappa Club comes in.
Let's hope we're not in lockdown when Christmas is.
Lockdown or not, man.
I'm currently in lockdown.
We're always in lockdown. We're always in lockdown. Nah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to talk about the real life stuff because that's depressing as is.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing things differently. I hope just everybody in the chat, both chats are just being safe.
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands. Sing the national anthem.
Plays as well. Wash your Lancers. Oil them. Take them apart. Put them back together. Or turn them into a toilet like TC does. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, man. That's all we.
That's all we got. All right. I think that's a wrap. I appreciate you inviting me on, Dutch.
Yeah, man. You too. Yeah, it was fun. We should try this again some other time. Maybe when we're old and forgotten.
Yeah. Appreciate everyone tuning in. That's been supporting, following, etc. Give Dutch a follow, etc. I'll link him.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, and real quick for the people on YouTube, if you're watching on my channel, his channel will be in the description. And if he uploads this as well, it'll be in his description, my channel.
Yep.
That wouldn't make any sense, of course. Yeah. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you next time.
All right. Peace out.